Chapter 81. Yihua said faintly, "What does it have to do with me?" Qingye was too lazy to argue with Yihua and asked, "What do you guys want to eat?" "Lansao fried rice, add an egg." Yihua said faintly, "It has been a long time since I ate Lansao fried rice." Qingye let out a sigh of relief. "Luckily I didn't order crayfish." "Let's eat crayfish tonight," Yihua added. Qingye's face immediately darkened. Qing Yutong thought for a while. "Big sister, help me order a McFlurry. I want strawberry flavored, and also 2 pairs of chicken wings." "You don't want to control your weight anymore?" Qingye sized up Qing Yutong and asked. Qing Yutong stood up and turned around. "Do I still need to control my figure, brother-in-law?" "Not bad." Yihua had to give his sister-in-law a thumbs up. Other than the slight flaw in her personality, she is still very perfect. "Not bad, my ass." "Yihua, where are your eyeballs looking at?" "Oh, looking at sister-in-law," Yihua said faintly. "Brother-in-law, don't be like this. Big sister is still here. Then wait until she is not here." Qingye knew that the two of them were teasing her, but she was still angry. "All right, I will make space for you guys then." Just like this, the daily quarrel started again. Yihua shook his head helplessly. Qingye's mental state still needs to be trained. If she gets angry just like this, if she gets provoked by the enemy a few times, wouldn't she fly into the sky? Big sister has such a bad temper. Even Qing Yutong sighed. Seeing that her brother-in-law did not have the intention to chase after them, Qing Yutong asked in a low voice, "Brother-in-law, why don't you chase after them? I can only look at you after your big sister left." While brother-in-law is so perverted, he likes sister-in-law authentic beautiful legs. Do you want to know? Qing Yutong could be seen revealing her snow-white long legs. She silently thought, if brother-in-law can quickly touch them, then I will be able to get a quest point. "You are also very perverted." Yihua took a look at the long legs and said, "Qing Yutong." Half an hour later, the food delivery arrived. It was a pity that Qingye was still angry and did not come over to eat. Yihua had no choice but to go and coax her. "It is fine if the adult is hungry, but I don't want my child to be hungry." Pushing open the bedroom door, Yihua discovered that Qingye was sitting on the bed, revealing her miserable back view, looking just like a resentful wife. "Qingye, come over and eat," Yihua shouted out. In actuality, this action of his was already giving the other party a lot of face. When had Yihua ever called others out for a meal? He only knows how to send people to hell. "What are you calling me for? Aren't you having fun with your sister-in-law? I don't dare to disturb master's mood." Qingye was very jealous. Yihua pulled Qingye up and said faintly, "All right, don't make me angry." "You," Qingye snorted. "If it wasn't for the fact that you won 50 billion, if you don't beg me a few times today, I wouldn't have let you off so easily." Qing Yutong looked at her brother-in-law who was pulling her big sister into the room, and clicked her tongue. "Big sister, can't you be a little more reserved? At the very least, you should at least be able to last for 2 minutes, right? Every time brother-in-law makes a move, you would always surrender in less than a minute. As a woman, I have to look down on you. Eat your food, don't talk so much." Qingye's beautiful eyes widened. "Isn't it because he is too strong? I am unable to resist him." "Ha ha ha. Right, just now the company gave me a call. Tomorrow, you should make a trip to Gaohai City to take some publicity photos," Qingye said while holding on to her rice bowl. Hearing that, Qing Yutong became worried. "Tomorrow? Brother-in-law, come with me, not free. I have to bring your big sister out for a walk tomorrow." "All right, you guys. You guys are just purposely making me go away, so that you can enjoy your world with just the two of you, right? I have seen through you guys." Qing Yutong got angry, crossed her arms around her chest, and raised her chin up high. Qingye rolled her eyes at Yihua. "When did I agree to go out with you? Since you want to be a streamer, then go and do it properly. Don't drop the ball. If not, you can go back and be your movie empress," Qingye said. Qing Yutong turned her head and looked outside the window. Her small mouth was so big that an oil bottle could be hung on it. "With a bad temper, I won't be coming back. Let's see if you guys are anxious or not." After eating, everyone was not in a hurry to play games. Qingye had the habit of taking afternoon naps, and Yihua had to cultivate his human nature. Qing Yutong, his sister-in-law, joined in as well. The two of them sat in the office and looked happy. Qing Yutong would occasionally laugh, and Yihua wished that he could sew his sister-in-law's mouth shut. Is it that funny? Qingya directly overslept. If not for her phone ringing, she would have probably slept till night time. CEO Qing. The phone call was from Lu Hang. Qingya propped up her body and leaned against the headboard of the bed. Her lazy charm made people's hearts itch, and they wished that they could press Qingya under their body and enjoy to their heart's content. What's the matter? Lu Hang said gravely. The matter is like this. Longhu Real Estate is also considered as a business partner. Their boss's daughter was killed by someone today. Shouldn't we express our gratitude? Boss's daughter? What's the situation? Qingya wore her slippers and stood beside the window and looked at the sunset. Lu Hang swallowed his saliva. I am not very clear about the specifics, just now. It was also a subordinate who reported it to me, and I only watched the television. Alright, I got it. Qingya hung up the phone. If I am not in Long'an City, it would be fine, but now that I am here, I still have to go over to take a look. Opening the door and walking out of the bedroom, Qingya arrived at Yihua's office. Upon opening the door, she heard a voice that would make one's head ache. I will still come back. They actually looked happy for the entire afternoon. Qingya wished that she could kick these two people awake. Just how old are they already? Big sister, quickly come, it is going to start again soon. Qingya picked up the remote control and changed to Long'an City's channel. As expected, it was reporting about this matter. Audience in front of the TV. The place where I am at right now is the crime scene. Everyone can still clearly see the bloodstains on the ground. It can be seen how terrifying it was at that time. The murderer is even more shocking. This person is called Qin Jin. He is the successor of Qin Group. And among the people who died at the scene, there is even his fiancée. According to my understanding, after Qin Group went bankrupt, Qin Jin had been very quiet. I believe that the murder this time was meticulously planned by Qin Jin, and the method was even more inhumane. The deceased are all the children of Long'an City's famous rich merchants. It can be seen how big his heart for vengeance is. The following scene is a bit too extreme. If there are children present at the scene, please move away. The scene changed. A man could be seen ferociously stepping on a woman. Although the scene was blurred out, the begging voice that came out from the television was shocking, especially that begging voice that gradually became softer, until it was completely gone. But that man was still stepping on the woman continuously, causing people's scalp to go numb. Chapter 82. Yihua did not have any reaction. Isn't it just a few people dying? People die in this world every day. What is there to be surprised about? Qingya was obviously not used to it. She picked up the remote control and changed the channel, then called Lu Hang again. Is the one who died Shen Tao's daughter or Shen Shuai's daughter? It's Shen Tao's daughter, Shen Miao Miao. So pitiful. Qingya sighed. After hanging up the phone, Qingya slowly sat beside Yihua and suddenly hugged onto Yihua's arm. This person died just like that. This is really sudden. Big sister, what happened? Is your friend inside as well? Qing Yutong asked concernedly. The daughter of a business partner is inside. Qingya let out a sigh of relief. In the future, I have to properly discipline my own child. That is really too unfortunate. Qing Yutong said regretfully. Yihua patted onto Qingya's head. What is there to be sad about? Is your heart made of stone? Can't you even sigh for a bit? Qingya poked onto Yihua's heart and said coquettishly. Yihua said disapprovingly. Everyone is destined to die. It is just that it was brought forward. According to the legends, people reincarnated in advance. Nonsense. Alright, I ordered the crayfish. Yihua said faintly. Qingya rubbed onto her stomach. I am not hungry. You can just peel it. Yihua, I am your wife, not your servant. Qing Yutong sighed. Big sister, don't quarrel with brother-in-law. You won't be able to hold on for more than a minute anyway, why bother? Yutong does have some opinions, Qingya, give up struggling. The two of you can. I will remember it. Qingya said angrily, but there was nothing she could do. I can't win against him, and acting coquettishly isn't my style. I am so depressed. I actually found this kind of husband, How many couples did I break up in my previous life in exchange for this kind of retribution? When the fried crayfish arrived, the stubborn Qingye still obediently helped Yihua peel it, just that the bitter taste filled the entire room, as if she was kidnapped by Yihua. And Yihua was also very particular. He once again mixed a cup of dragon blood wine for his wife and sister-in-law. Qingye's face immediately turned bright. Yihua thought silently, "TikTok really doesn't lie. This woman will be fine after being coaxed a bit." Qing Yutong was even more careful when she drank the wine. Last time, she drank the wine in a single gulp, and today, she had to drink it slowly bit by bit. "Qingye, let me tell you something," Yihua suddenly said while eating the prawn meat that Qingye peeled. Qingye put down the bar, then lightly licked her cherry lips with her fragrant tongue, looking exceptionally cute. "Anne?" Qing Yutong immediately cast a glance at Yihua. Seeing brother-in-law's serious look, it seems like he has already started to discipline his wife. "Big sister is so miserable. Luckily I am not brother-in-law's concubine. I almost scared myself to death. As a boss, I don't have to do everything personally." Yihua was indeed preparing to start training the boss. "In this aspect, I have to properly teach him." Qingye snorted coldly. "If I don't do it, who is going to do it? Are you going to do it? If this subordinate isn't used to do things, then what's the use of having him? As the boss of the group, all you have to do is to issue orders. Doing everything yourself is bullsh*t. It's just like the emperor in the past, who only cared about sitting on the throne and controlling the situation." Qing Yutong nodded her head. "What brother-in-law said makes sense." "Shut up." Qingye glared at her little sister. "Just whose side are you standing on? Look, even Yutong knows about it, yet you, as the big sister, still don't know about it." Yihua placed his chopsticks straight, slightly leaned on the chair, and drank the dragon blood wine. Qingye pursed her lips, and for the first time, she didn't refute. After a while she said, "After saying so much, you just want me to not go and mourn, right? Of course, think about it. There are so many levels of difference between the two of you. Even if you want to go, it would be that driver from that day." Yihua said. Qingye pouted her mouth and muttered, "Inhumane." "What did you say?" Yihua asked gravely. Qingye's heart trembled. She felt that Yihua's tone just now was very heavy. "Is there a need for that? I am just going to comfort my partner. There is no other meaning." However, to Yihua, there is a huge disparity in status between the two of them. A mere human. Why is there a need for me to let my wife go? "Brother-in-law. Come. Your sister-in-law will peel the prawns for you. Calm down, be obedient." Yihua fiercely glared at his sister-in-law, and the latter stuck out her tongue. "Qingye, you just have to remember one point. You are the boss, you are the sky." Yihua added a sentence, and completed the lesson of disciplining his wife. "Big sister, did you hear that? If you are the sky, then brother-in-law is the ground." Qingye stretched out her hand unhappily and slapped onto her sister-in-law, and the latter rubbed onto her head pitifully. "That's right. I admit that what you said is right. But do you know about respecting the old and loving the young? Do you know about China's tradition? What's wrong with abandoning one's position? A partner's daughter passed away. What's wrong with going and mourning for her?" Qingye questioned, and immediately started disciplining her husband. Yihua didn't say anything. According to China's tradition, it is indeed necessary to do so. Seeing that Yihua didn't say anything, Qingye snorted. "You have your reasons, I also have my reasons. What's wrong with the boss? Can't the boss care about the subordinate? The human heart is made of flesh, not made of iron. If you treat others well, others will treat you well. Just like you. When have you ever treated me well before? Touch your own conscience and say, have you ever cared about me before? And what about me? In the morning, when I went to buy breakfast for you, I still had to be scolded by you. And I even had to peel crayfish for you. Did I ever say that my fingers were hurting from the spiciness? I have always been patient and tolerant. I also have a temper. Don't think that I am afraid of you. When I get angry, even I am afraid of myself." Yihua was a little startled, and Qing Yutong was also shocked by her big sister's imposing manner. She is truly a heroine among women. I have to give her a thumbs up and praise her. The more Qingye spoke, the angrier she got. And she began to complain about the grievances she suffered these few days. Also, you only know how to watch cartoons every day, and now that you are addicted to playing games, you still don't go out and look for a job. That's right. I can support you for your entire life, but you also need to have a bit of ambition. If the child sees that his father only knows how to watch cartoons and play games, how disappointed would he be? Also, don't think that just because I treat you well, you can bully me as you wish. I, Chinya, also have my dignity. Please respect me. After finished speaking, Chinya swallowed her saliva. Looking at that stupefied look on Yihua's face, I wonder if he is going to get angry again. After a long time, Yihua said to Qing Yutong, Yutong, how about ordering another 5 pounds of sugar? Qing Yutong didn't know how to reply and chose to remain silent. Qingya was angered to the point that she was biting her lips. Not only did this person not talk back, but he is actually punishing me in disguise, shameless to the extreme. I was wrong. Qingya lowered her head and admitted defeat. Even she herself didn't know why she had to be like this. If it was in the past, she would feel that she had lost a lot of face, but right now she didn't feel like this. The corner of Yihua's mouth slightly rose. You are not wrong. I will accompany you tonight. A dignified supreme overlord being scolded by his wife, and he still can't refute. This is truly embarrassing. This matter has to be kept a secret, and all the people who know about it have to be silenced. Chapter 83. The one who was the most shocked was definitely Qingya. Right now, I can still be considered to have understood this man. As long as you go against him even a little bit, he would not let you off. I didn't expect that he would actually change today. He even took the initiative to say that he would accompany me. Is he expressing his goodwill to me? At least he has a bit of conscience. He knows how to curry favor with his wife. Yihua only felt that what Qingya said was reasonable. If one wants to understand human nature, then one has to get along. Cartoons are only one side of things. Yihua actually wanted to learn a bit from Qingya. The current situation immediately became clear. Yihua taught Qingya dark thoughts, while Qingya taught Yihua how to be a person. This is a bit interesting. After the meal, Qingya asked her little sister, Do you want to go out for a walk? Forget it. In case someone says that I am a third wheel moreover, I am still alive. It hasn't expired yet. Qing Yutong snorted, indicating that she was also famous. She might as well just stay at home and play games. Yihua had already changed his clothes and said faintly, Let's go. I will go and change my clothes then. Let's do this. Yihua pulled Qingya and left. Hey, I don't look good like this, right? Qingya shouted anxiously. She did not even tie up her hair, and was still wearing a loose t-shirt. The main point was that it was so long that it could be worn as a skirt. If one did not know, they would have thought that she was not wearing pants. I feel good. I look like a primary school student. Qingya knew. This fellow just wants to make a fool of me. I will go and get the car key then. Yihua still didn't know what Qingya was thinking about. This Longan city isn't big, but it isn't small either. We can just walk. Moreover, you need to walk more right now. But I am wearing slippers. Carry you. In an instant, Qingya was speechless and punched Yihua. However, this action was just like a girlfriend acting coquettishly, and it was seen by all the employees on the first floor. I can't help but admire the boss. At the start, this beauty was cold, but in just a few days, she broke the ice, and even punched your chest with her small fists. Qingya was startled and immediately changed her mode. I cannot let my persona collapse. Yihua shook his head. This woman likes to be like this. In actuality, her inner heart is very fragile, and she uses cold arrogance to disguise her inner weakness. When the two of them walked out of Leisure Bar, they just so happened to see Wei Chong and Tang Wei walking over while holding hands. This stunned Wei Chong, while Qingya was sizing them up curiously. Boss! Boss! Wei Chong and Tang Wei shouted out. Yihua slightly wrinkled his brows and asked, You too? Boss, Lil Tang is my girlfriend now. Wei Chong was a little nervous. However, when he thought about Lai Gu, there are already 3 of them, and I am only one. Will Lai Gu stop me? Of course, Yihua wouldn't stop Wei Chang. He was just too curious. Wei Chang had been following me for a few hundred years, and I have never seen him get close to a woman before. Compared to women, Wei Chang prefers to eat women. Today, when I saw Wei Chang today, my 3 views on the world, the 3 views. Yihua nodded his head. And not bad. Wei Chang heaved a sigh of relief. Thank you for your praise, boss. Thank you, boss. Tang Wei also thanked him. Although she did not understand why, she felt that this was the right thing to do. Go get busy. Yes. Qingye took a puzzled look at Yihua, then followed after Yihua. Upon seeing that Yihua's brows were tightly wrinkled, Qingye asked, "What's with that expression of yours? Are you unhappy that they are together?" "No, I'm just curious, that's all," Yihua said lightly. "What's there to be curious about? It's just that their age is a problem. I don't think it's a problem at all." Qingye was rather open-minded, and didn't feel that there was anything wrong with this matter. Speaking of age, we are also a few hundred years apart. Yihua didn't discuss Wei Chang's matters with Qingye in depth, and while holding on to Qingye's tender and delicate hands, he asked, "Is it really that painful?" "Humph, what do you think?" Although Qingye was venting out her dissatisfaction, her heart felt sweet. "You will get used to it. Yihua, if I continue to peel crayfish for you, I will change my surname to yours." Just now, she thought that Yihua had changed, but in the end he was still the same, causing her to explode from anger. Meanwhile, Yihua hugged onto his wife's waist and said faintly, "You said that I don't care about you? Did I say something wrong? Some care can't be seen, can't be touched. One has to use one's heart to feel it. It's just that you are unable to experience it." Yihua said lightly, "This stupid woman only looks at the surface. I really don't know how she managed to become a big company." "TSK, you are starting to talk nonsense again." Qingye was clearly lacking in confidence. Thinking back to the past few days, Yihua did care about me a little. In any case, compared to the past few days, Yihua was much better. Walking out of the alley and onto the main street, the two of them were destined to be the center of attention. Especially the way Qingye was dressed. It was too girlish, and she was even wearing a pair of cute slippers. If she were to tie her hair into 2 ponytails, she would almost look like a loli. Qingye was very embarrassed. It was the first time that I dressed like this, and I looked like I was pretending to be young, especially those men whose eyeballs were about to pop out. And there were even a few who knocked into electricity poles. Where does that person live? Qingye had unknowingly held onto Yihua's hand. I don't know. Yihua said gravely. It seems like she ran out of the house without knowing anything. I will make a call and ask. Qingye hurriedly said. One touch and it's over. Yihua looked at the bashful Qingye and asked. Did you forget to bring your phone as well? Who asked you to pull me out of the house? Qingye said coldly as she pinched onto Yihua's arm. You sure are quick to shift the blame. In any case, it is all your fault. Forget it. Just treat it as taking a stroll outside. Don't think about going to mourn. Qingye let out a deep sigh. Right now, I can only do this. No, this fellow definitely brought his phone with him. Lend me your phone for a while. Do you remember the phone number? Yihua asked back. You only know how to show off. Qingye was very melancholic. I am completely under the control of Yihua. And I don't even have a bit of leeway to retaliate. If only this man was a bit more obedient. Although I am very gloomy, I feel that this kind of life isn't bad at all. After dinner, I took a stroll with Yihua. Walking on the bustling street, there was no false flattery. There was also no business deception. And there was also no heavy pressure. It was as if all the pressure was shouldered by the man beside her. But he didn't seem to have done anything. Meanwhile, Jiuyi was also very vexed today. Such a thing actually happened in Long'an City. Although it has nothing to do with me, there are still some people who pointed the spearhead at me. I am truly very vexed. Right now, I still have to go and give those rich merchants an explanation. What is there to say about this? If you want to find someone, then go and find Bai family. And that Bai Qi ran away the moment something happened. He is simply shameless. Jiuyi, who was sitting in the Rolls-Royce Phantom, looked at the pedestrians on the street. Those two that I met at the banquet yesterday. I probably won't meet them today, right? Please don't appear. The moment you two appear, I will be embarrassed. Chapter 84. Damn it. Why did I have to pass by this road just now? Oh my god. I should just get off the car and ask. Yihua and Qingye didn't pay attention to the cars on the road at all, and were only taking a silent stroll. If not for the two of them holding hands, just by looking at their expressions, one would have thought that they were strangers. A Rolls-Royce Phantom suddenly stopped at the roadside. Jiuyi quickly arrived in front of Yihua and Qingye and said with a smile, "Boss, lady boss, what a coincidence." Yihua really didn't like others disturbing his peace and quiet. "Are you following me?" "Boss, I don't have that kind of free time." "Yihua, it's just a coincidence." Qingye smiled lightly. "I got off the car out of goodwill and greeted you. Yet your face turned black. You are not giving me face at all. Lady boss sure is magnanimous." Jiuyi had a good impression of Qingye. Not only is this woman beautiful, she also has a good heart. Qingye asked with a smile, "Where are you going, Director Gong?" "Lady boss, don't call me Director Gong, just call me Xiaojiu." "Ah." Qingye was a bit stupefied. This was the first time I met such a humble person. Yihua said faintly, "Just call me when I ask you to." Jiuyi laughed dryly. "Lady boss, I was just about to go to Qinghe Garden. It's all because of that matter that happened at noon." "Murder?" Qingye asked. "Lady boss knows about it too. Those relatives of mine are making a fuss right now. I have to go out and talk to them." "Just nice, I was just about to go out as well," Qingye said and poked Yihua's waist. Yihua really wanted to give this Jiuyi a slap. "It's fine if you just drove by. Why did you have to get off the car? Are you bored? Can't you see that I am taking a stroll with my wife after dinner?" "Boss, lady boss, please get on the car." Jiuyi exclaimed that he was very lucky. If the boss went out, things would be much simpler. Just that, will the boss go out? This is a problem, this isn't right. As long as the lady boss goes out, doesn't that mean that the boss also has to go out? Yihua helplessly let Qingye lead him away. To be honest, Yihua really wasn't willing to go. "I might as well stay at home and play games with my sister-in-law." Qinghe Garden was a cemetery in Long'an City. The people who were able to live in this cemetery were mostly the elders of rich people. The price of the cemetery was about the same as buying a house, but the size of the cemetery was even smaller than buying a house. However, today's Clear Harmony Garden seemed to be exceptionally gloomy, and there was even a bit of austere atmosphere in the atmosphere. Qingye looked at the black-clothed men, who were standing on both sides of the hall. Their sleeves were tied with white silk scarves, and they looked as if they were prepared to fight. Qingye couldn't help but hold on to Yihua's hand tightly. The entire road leading to the park was filled with men in black. The cars that entered were stopped without permission. Of course, they didn't dare to stop Lord Jiu's car. Basically, it was the reporters. When the reporters saw Lord Jiu's car, they were all excited. Driving all the way up the mountain, the parking lot was filled with all kinds of luxurious cars. The entire garden was divided into 5 areas, and they were even marked. Shin Clan, Jia Clan, Yu Clan, Han Clan, Li Clan. These 5 families were most likely the most famous families in Long'an City. Of course, there was also Qing family. Unfortunately, in just one afternoon, all the juniors had been killed. Although the murderer had been caught, this was not enough to vent their anger. It was also impossible to let this matter go just like that. As the owner of the clubhouse, Bai family had yet to say anything. When those big shots in front of the morning hall saw that Lord Jiu's car had arrived, they quickly walked over. Lord Jiu really wanted to cry. If this couple wasn't here, how dignified would I be? With them here, I am just like a small follower. Lord Jiu, who was originally sitting at the back of the car, sat on the front passenger seat. After the car stopped, he got off the car first. When everyone saw Lord Jiu getting off the front passenger seat, they were puzzled for a bit, but they didn't think much about it. "Lord Jiu, you have finally come. Lord Jiu, you have to uphold justice for us. Lord Jiu, that Bai family is bullying us too much. This northerner is already riding on our heads. Lord Jiu, you have to be the judge. What's the rush? Can't you see that I still have to open the car door?" Under everyone's astonishment, Lord Jiu personally opened the front passenger seat door. Seeing the woman who got off the car first, everyone was stunned. Although the woman was not dressed that well, it was unable to conceal the beauty that was in her bones. That long t-shirt added a different kind of allure to the woman. Those juniors were all dumbfounded. Why is this woman so beautiful? She is too perfect. Li Qianyi was the family head of Li family. He had a very fat build. Who knows how many layers his chin had? Why does this woman look so familiar? Li Qianyi felt that he had seen her somewhere before. Han Wei was the family head of Han family. He had a slightly fat build. I think so too. Yu family's family head. Yuxi's complexion was very bad. Why would Lord Jiu open the door for a woman? Jia Gao Ao, who was wearing a pair of gold-rimmed spectacles, said, "Perhaps she is some big shot." And Shen Tao recognized Qingye with a single look. As if he had seen his savior, he knelt in front of Qingye. "CEO Qing, you have to uphold justice for me. I only have this one daughter. She is usually very obedient, but after not seeing her for a few hours, she has already sent off her daughter." Everyone was shocked. No wonder she looks familiar. She is actually Qing family's Qingye. How did she become so beautiful? In actuality, Shen Tao was the most miserable. He got his daughter when he was old, and he doted on her too much. She was the kind of person who was afraid of melting when she was in his mouth, and afraid of breaking when she was in his hands. "Brother, Miao Miao is so pitiful." Shen Shui, that damn fatty, knelt beside Shen Tao and cried very reluctantly. "Brother only has this one child, and now that she has passed away, I might not be able to give birth to another child even if I want to. If that's the case, I can only take advantage of my son in the future. This is truly an accident." Qingye did not expect that Shen Tao would have such a big reaction. She wanted to help Shen Tao up, but Yihua just happened to come out from the car and stop Qingye. "That's right. This is done on purpose. Kneeling down is their honor. Ignoring them is your right." Everyone's gaze landed on Yihua, and discovered that the women of Qing family seemed to be taking this man as their master. This is too mystical, too sudden. Some people recognized Yihua. After all, they had attended the banquet last night, and also heard about the gambling house last night. Truly crazy, gambling all of their family's wealth. I heard that in the end, Xiao family and Tang family left with a black face. "Boss, lady boss, we have arrived." Lord Jiu's heart was bleeding. In the future, if I see them, I will take a detour. The dignified Lord Jiu actually called them boss and lady boss. Just what is going on? Could it be that that man has a special identity? If not, why would Lord Jiu be so respectful? "CEO Shen, the dead cannot come back to life. My condolences," Qingye said in a deep voice. For a man to cry so pitifully, it could be seen how much pain his heart was in. Yihua did not make any speech. As a man, what does crying count as? If it was my subordinate, I would have given him a slap. "CEO Qing, Lord Jiu, my daughter died in vain. But the murderer that was caught is an idiot. It must be the doing of the Rank 1 club." Shen Tao hammered the cement floor, feeling that everything that happened today was done by family from behind. Chapter 85. Jiuyi took a look at Yihua, and seeing that Yihua did not plan to say anything, Jiuyi patted Yihua's hand. "Let's talk inside. This matter is not a small matter. It can be big or small." Lord Jiu's words shocked everyone. Big or small? What did he mean? Yihua, on the other hand, was hugging onto Qingye to prevent her from showing the pity of a woman. Towards Jiuye's words, Yihua wasn't the slightest bit interested. "Yihua, let go of me," Qingye said in a low voice, feeling a little embarrassed. Yihua said faintly, "You have been hugging me for the entire night, and now that I'm hugging you, that's all. All right, you can go and sleep on the sofa tonight." "You, why are you so stingy? There are so many people here. You can hug me all you want when we get home. Follow me." Don't forget what you said before. In any case, I'm a weak woman. If you want to use force, there's nothing I can do. However, I will despise you." Qingye flipped her hair indifferently. "I am so beautiful and sexy. It is inevitable for Yihua's beastly heart to burst out when I am hugging onto him at night. She could understand him, but she would also despise him. Yihua took a faint look at Qingye. You. That's for the best. Remember that look of disdain in your eyes. In the future, even if you beg me, I won't agree. Yihua took a deep breath. Do I even need to request anything from you? Seeing that Yihua was angered to the point that he was taking a deep breath, Qingye did not continue on. Right now, she had learned to not go overboard. Raising her small hand, Qingye smacked towards Yihua's butt. Yihua looked at Qingye in disbelief, and after a while he said gravely, Qingye, I will teach you a lesson tonight. TCH, I won't bow down to evil forces. You will lower your head. Yihua's right hand tightened, and Qingye cried out in surprise, and her entire body fell into Yihua's embrace. This bastard, he didn't even know where he was. Everyone else was sad. Yihua expressed that it was none of my business. Boss, let's go in and talk, Lord Jiu said in a low voice. If the boss didn't move, he wouldn't dare to move. As for the wealthy businessman behind him, he saw that Lord Jiu didn't move, so he didn't move either. He just watched the couple in front of him being lovey-dovey. Qingye wished that she could dig a hole and hide herself. Originally, it was already very awkward for her to come out wearing this set of clothes, but I didn't expect that when I turned around just now, those people would be following behind me. Everyone was speechless. Qing family had a great background in Long'an City, and right now, they were even preparing to take root in Zijin City. Although there was still a gap between them and those big families in Zijin City, in any case, they were still able to squeeze into Zijin City. As for this man, he was very mysterious. He didn't look like a gigolo. The group arrived at a side room in Clear Harmony Garden. Yihua and Qingye sat down, and Yihua said faintly, You two can chat. Everyone sat down, and Lord Jiu let out a sigh of relief. Everyone, I am also very sorry that such a thing happened, but the dead cannot come back to life. Now that the culprit has been caught, everyone's hearts can be appeased. As for the Bai family, in fact, it is not good for you or me if this matter is blown up. Li Qianyi disagreed. Ninth Master. Our children were murdered in the first-class clubhouse, so the Bai family has to take responsibility. That's right, Director Li is right. Jia Gaoao agreed. Lord Jiu, it can't be that you're afraid of the Bai family, and that's why you're siding with them, right? Yuyusi asked solemnly. Lord Jiu said helplessly. I can understand everyone's feelings. It's fine if you want to pursue the Bai clan's responsibility, but you need some time. You can't be thinking of killing your way over, right? Ninth Master. No matter how powerful the Bai family is or how high their status is, they should give us an explanation for what happened. Han Wei's face turned cold. Yihua finally understood. These people are afraid of Bai family and want to use Xiaojiu as cannon fodder. However, how could these little rich merchants have the guts to challenge the Bai family? Although they were standing on the side of reason, it was still unusual. That was how humans were. They schemed against each other and schemed against each other. It was the same even when they were playing games. That's right. Do you think we, the South, are afraid of the North? Li Qianyi said boldly, as if he wanted to start a war with the North. Yihua held onto his chin and asked, Qingye, how is this Bai family? Bai family is very strong, especially Bai family's women. The woman that Wang Debao married yesterday is a woman from Bai family. Qingye said in a low voice. How many wives does Wang Debao have? Yihua asked. Why do you care about that? How many? Qingye said coldly. Wang Debao is very single-minded, he only has one wife. This Wang Debao is indeed a bit interesting. Yihua said faintly. Which of those who have a bit of strength doesn't have a bunch of wives and concubines? That Xiao Yi, and that Tang Wushuang. Qingye mumbled. But he dotes on his wife a lot. You mean that I don't dote on you? Yihua asked back. Qingye put on a straight face. Have you ever doted on me before? Yihua could be seen leaning towards Qingye's ear and saying in a low voice. That night, I doted on you a lot. Scoundrel! Qingye couldn't help but shout out and raised her little fist. Unfortunately, her little fist was grabbed onto by Yihua. Everyone present looked towards Yihua and Qingye in unison. We are discussing about a big matter, and yet you two are flirting with each other. This is truly infuriating. What are you looking at? Have you never seen a husband and wife quarrel before? Yihua said coldly. Everyone was speechless. You are obviously the one who disturbed us. And yet, you are the one who is complaining first. Yihua, don't be like this. Xingye said petulantly. After this fellow is done acting cool, I have to clean up after him. Xingye laughed lightly. Everyone, I'm sorry, my husband Wu. Before Xingye could finish speaking, Yihua covered Xingye's mouth. Is there a need for me to explain? Jiuyi blushed with shame. The boss is indeed awesome. I am just like this. Yihua said faintly, then let go of his hand. Let's see how you are going to smooth things over. Xingye was very angry. Can't you speak properly? It is enough for you to use this kind of tone to talk to me. But to still act like this when going out, you are going to make enemies. Everyone was still unclear of Yihua's background. Thus they decided to bide their time. After all, even Jiuyi had to call him boss. Everyone, I am late. A man who was wearing a green gown could be seen walking over slowly. And behind him was a young man who was also wearing a green gown and carrying a long sword on his back. If Qing Yutong was here, she would definitely recognize this green gown man. He was that Dao defender who beat the dog until it vomited blood. Deacon Jian, you are finally here. Everyone hurriedly stood up and greeted. This Deacon Jian is incredible. I heard that he is the deacon of a certain sect in the cultivation world, and also the contact person of Long City. Deacon Jian, why were you tied up in the park this morning? Jia Gaoao really touched on the sore spot. Jian Yuan's face sunk. Then he laughed and said, something went wrong when I was training yesterday, causing my power to be greatly damaged, and I also met with a ferocious beast. You are the dog abuser who was tied up on the tree this morning? Xingye asked curiously, but after asking, she immediately regretted it. This is very rude. The air instantly froze. Jian Yuan's face turned white and red, and even the small cultivator who was following behind him felt embarrassed. Xingye, how can you speak like that? He is a cultivator. Yihua said calmly. Xingye was shocked. Ah, he is even a cultivator. Yihua laughed. Jian Yuan was about to bleed internally. Everyone was already scared out of their wits. Jiuyi was convinced, this husband and wife are really good at slandering people. Chapter 86. The atmosphere at the scene was already awkward to the extreme. Xingye wished that she could bite Yihua to death. The words that I used just now had the intention of belittling him. I really didn't know that he was a cultivator. Xingye could be heard saying apologetically, I'm sorry, I really didn't mean to slander you. Jian Yuan. Everyone. Xingye opened her beautiful eyes wide, feeling that she had said the wrong thing again. Really, being pregnant makes one foolish for 3 years. No, I must have been infected by Yihua. He is going to take the blame for me. How could Jian Yuan be calculative with an ordinary person? There were rules in the cultivation world. One cannot harm an ordinary person. If not, one would definitely be punished. Young lady, it's fine. Jian Yuan didn't know how he was feeling right now. It might be the same as yesterday night. That kind of sullen, that kind of powerlessness. Yihua reminded. She is not a young lady anymore. Xingye rolled her eyes at Yihua. Is this fellow really going to anger me to death before he stops? Jian Yuan laughed dryly, then said to everyone, everyone, please calm down. I have already reported the matter that happened at noon to the sect. I believe that everyone will be given a satisfactory answer. After all, our South is not that easy to bully. Deacon Jian Yuan is indeed wise. I admire you. Li Qianyi cupped his hands and said with a smile. Jia Gaoao said heroically. Deacon Jian Yuan, let's not talk about anything else. I will donate 10 million to add food for your esteemed sect. Me too. Yusi shouted out too. Me too. Shen Tao took a look at Xingye and shouted out too. Jian Yuan thanks everyone here. Forget about the money. I have a presumptuous request. Jian Yuan smiled with his hands behind his back. He had the demeanor of an expert, and his temperament became faintly discernible, not at all like a person who was being hung up. Hanwei said, Jian Yuan is too polite. If there is anything you need, just say it. As long as it is within my capabilities, I will definitely do my best. Actually, it's nothing much. I heard that everyone bought a mountain together and is preparing to develop it. My sect is also interested. The money will naturally be given to everyone, and also my sect's miraculous medicine. Hearing that, everyone's expression immediately stiffened for a moment, but they who were cunning also instantly came back to their senses. Yi Hua could be considered to know what Jian Yuan was planning. From the looks of it, the reason why these few people dared to be so arrogant was all because of that mountain, and this Jian Yuan was planning to get a share of the loot. Lord Jiu was also a little puzzled. Recently, they had indeed teamed up to develop a mountain. More accurately, it was a few mountain peaks. At that time, he didn't have high hopes for it, because it was too remote. Now that Jian Yuan mentioned it, he immediately knew what they were thinking. No wonder they dared to be so arrogant. They had probably obtained some treasures, or they wanted to create a diversion and create chaos first. Only then would they be able to sit back and enjoy the benefits of others. Just that, how did Jian Yuan know about it? Also, what kind of treasure was inside that mountain? Thinking back to why Xiao Yi wanted to invest in Long'an City, could it be that it was also because of this mountain? Instantly, Lord Jiu's curiosity was piqued. Qingye stealthily sized up the two cultivators. In the past, I have only seen cultivators in movies or novels, but now that I am standing in front of real cultivators, why do I feel that they are so unreal? Even my view of the world has changed. Are they able to step on the small swords on their back and fly? That was way too powerful. What are you thinking about? Yi Hua asked. Are they really cultivators? Qingye was still unable to believe the fact before her eyes. Yi Hua said faintly, actually, I am also a cultivator. Qingye immediately rolled her eyes. Qingye, your ability to roll your eyes has improved a bit. Yi Hua, your ability to brag is getting better and better. Yi Hua laughed lightly. What if I am a cultivator? You are? I, Qingye, write my name backwards. There is no need for that. As long as you promise to listen to me obediently, you cannot go west when I say east. Yi Hua revealed out a mysterious smile, causing Qingye to become flustered. Qingye's eyebrows wrinkled slightly. What kind of tricks is this fellow trying to play again? All right, if you are not a cultivator, then you have to listen to me. And in the future, you have to peel crayfish for me. All right. Yi Hua agreed very straightforwardly. This woman actually dares to make such a bet with me. She is truly silly to the point of being adorable. Yi Hua could be seen taking out his phone and turning on the recording. In view of the fact that sometimes, you always run your mouth off, I have to record it. You are the one who runs your mouth off. Qingye couldn't help but raise her voice, causing everyone that was sitting at the table to have a headache. Jian Yin laughed lightly. Madam, can you lower your voice a bit? We are currently discussing some matters. I'm sorry. Qingye hurriedly nodded her head and apologized. Yi Hua said faintly, you all be quiet, don't create trouble for me. It wasn't easy for Yi Hua to trick Qingye, so he mustn't let her down. After adjusting the recording, Yi Hua said, speak. Towards Yi Hua's childlike actions, Qingye was helpless and said, if Yi Hua is really a cultivator, I, Qingye, promise to be obedient in the future. Yi Hua will be my sky, all right? Yi Hua was very satisfied and kept his phone. You are a cultivator as well? Jian Yin asked curiously. I am unable to see through this man's cultivation. Yi Hua nodded his head. Loose cultivator? Yi Hua said, self-cultivation. That's right, Yi Hua is self-cultivating. Could it be that an undead wants to enter the human world to learn? You are thinking too much. Even the other races look down on the undead. They are just like street rats. Your distinguished self said that you are a cultivator. How about you give me a few moves? The young man that was with Jian Yin said. He had long disliked Yi Hua. Forget that Yi Hua is handsome. Even his wife is so beautiful. Yi Hua suddenly said coldly. Since you all were rude to my wife, I shall properly teach you all a lesson. Yi Hua, stop messing around. Qingye shook Yi Hua's arm. It is one thing for you to act cool in front of your wife. After all, we are all family, but now, you even went to act cool in front of others. Yi Hua patted onto the back of Qingye's hand. Qingye, remember what you said just now. Suddenly, Yi Hua stretched out his index finger, and a purple flame appeared out of nowhere. That bewitching color, made people unable to take their eyes off of the purple flame. When that purple flame shone onto Yihua's face, it made people exclaim in admiration. Yihua flicked out his finger, and the purple flame landed on the ground. The flame did not extinguish, nor did it melt the ground, as if it was just an illusion. Qingye, who was at the side, was already stunned. Yihua can't be playing magic, right? But this is too strange, right? An even stranger thing could be seen happening. That purple flame actually slowly twisted and formed into a head and 4 limbs. Just that. Why is there a bottle gourd on the head? That's right, this is the bottle gourd brother that Yihua transformed into, the embodiment of justice, the spokesperson that fights against the strong and helps the weak. The purple bottle gourd brother seemed to have a life of its own as it looked left and right, sizing up everything, just like a super cute little pet. However, the size of the purple bottle gourd brother was even smaller than a rabbit by half. Qingye? Yihua looked towards Qingye, seemingly asking her if she admitted defeat. Qingye looked at Yihua dumbfoundedly. Even if you beat her to death, she wouldn't believe that my man is actually a cultivator. How is this possible? Thinking back to the things that happened these few days, so he wasn't acting cool, and what he said was all true. Chapter 87. Qingye's brain was unable to function normally, and was currently in a frozen state. Not to mention Qingye, everyone including Jiu Yi was stupefied. Even Jian Yuan was stupefied. To casually create a living spirit, how is this possible? The face of the young man at the back was filled with disbelief. How can he be a cultivator? This is definitely fake. Evil arts of the pugilistic world, watch my sword. The young man immediately pulled out his sword and stabbed towards the Calabash brother. I want to expose his lies and let everyone here know that he is a gigolo. I also want that beauty to know that he is a swindler. The purple Calabash brother looked at the incoming sword curiously and did not move at all. However, the sword that was glowing with white light easily pierced through the body of the Calabash brother. Everyone couldn't help but let out a sigh of relief. A complacent look appeared in the young man's eyes. He even looked towards Yihua, seemingly saying that this little thing is not much. I killed him easily. Yihua did not say anything and poked Qingye's forehead. Stupid. Qingye came back to her senses and said, You are the stupid one. How do you want to deal with them? You decide. Yihua said indifferently. In any case, I didn't do it myself, so I didn't break the rules. Qingye punched Yihua. What do you mean deal with them? Your Calabash brother was pierced through the heart. Pierced through the heart? Yihua smiled and did not say anything. The purple Calabash brother touched the sword and seemed to be very curious. However, just this small action of his made everyone gasp in shock. He didn't die. The young man turned pale with fright and tried to pull the sword out with his right hand, but the Calabash brother grabbed onto the sword and seemed to be very unhappy. This is my toy. Back off. Jian Yuan shouted lightly. Deacon, I can't pull it out. The young man was very helpless. Just what the hell is this Calabash brother? Suddenly, a purple light emitted out from the hand of the Calabash brother, and the sword was instantly wrapped up. The young man revealed a look of shock and immediately let go of the sword. The Calabash brother swung his hand, and the purple sword floated in the air, looking very dazzling. Qingye, do you want them to live or die? Yihua asked Qingye, who was absent-minded. Qingye looked at Yihua blankly. She was getting more and more confused about Yihua. Just what kind of person is he? He knocked on the silly woman's head and said, You look pretty cute in this adorable way. Why did you knock my head? Qingye rubbed onto her head petulantly. You haven't answered me yet. Answer what? They have offended you. It's not like other people did it on purpose. Forget about it, forget about it. Qingye said in a low voice. In the end, Qingye was still just a little woman. After hearing what Qingye said, Yihua let out a sigh. Qingye, you should know that offending you is equivalent to offending me. Have you ever thought about it? After hearing that, Qingye remained silent. I'll let it go this time, but don't make the same mistake next time. As the wife of a supreme overlord, not only did she have to consider herself, she also had to consider her husband's face. Qingye bit her lips, not knowing what she was thinking. However, everyone listened to the conversation between the couple. They were simply showing off to the extreme. What did they mean by offensive? Did they think they were emperors? However, they only dared to think about it, and didn't dare to say it out. They were afraid that the purple sword in the sky would give them a chill. At noon, the juniors were all annihilated. Could it be that the seniors are going to die together with them at night? Jiuyi finally understood the advice that his big brother gave him before he died. This boss is truly a cultivator, and his strength is even stronger than Jian Yuan, truly formidable. The purple calabash brother lightly leaped onto the purple sword that was floating in the sky, then began flying around. That small posture of his was like he was skiing, showing that he was having a lot of fun. Mr. has great strength. Jian Yuan cupped his hands and said. Yihua said, "Didn't you say that you wanted to spar with me?" Jian Yuan's heart sunk. This calabash brother looks very childish, but from the looks of it, his strength has definitely reached a terrifying level. Spar with me is completely seeking death. Mr.'s strength is extraordinary. We are not Mr.'s opponent. We have offended you just now. I hope that Mr. will not blame us. Jian Yuan let out a sigh of relief. A good man should know when to yield, and when to advance, and when to retreat. What's the use of acting cool for a moment? Yihua felt that it was alright to speak like this. According to his temperament in the past, he would definitely ignore his begging for mercy. But thinking from the perspective of a human, he would definitely want to obtain a greater benefit. Since you are sincerely lowering your head and begging for mercy, then I will spare your life. Yihua said indifferently. Jian Yuan looked as if he had eaten a fly. How am I begging for mercy? I am just praising you. Alright, that's right. This can only be counted as a disguised form of begging for mercy. But aren't you not giving me any face at all? Right now, everyone didn't even dare to breathe loudly. Even Jian Yuan Deacon has to lower his head and admit his mistake. Then what do we count as? That purple sword that was floating in the sky was like a death sentence. Whoever dares to speak carelessly would have their heart pierced through. Jian Yuan Deacon, since the boss has already spared your life, you should smile, don't frown. Jiuyi suddenly stood up and said with a smile, having the intention of hugging onto Yihua's thigh. Why the F***K am I supposed to smile? Will I beg for mercy? I will never beg for mercy in my entire life. This is the last time I will beg for mercy. Next time definitely won't, no. There won't be a next time. Why did you all butt in? Yihua asked curiously. Jian Yuan went into a daze, then played dumb and said, Mister, what do you mean? Bayu. The purple sword had already appeared in between Jian Yuan Deacon's eyebrows. Calabash brother was lying on the body of the sword, posing like a drunk concubine. If not for the fact that the situation wasn't right, Qingya would definitely laugh out. Jian Yuan didn't know why, but his body was already out of control. This sword might was too huge, but it was only released by Calabash brother who was lying on the body of the sword. And from start to finish, that man had only thrown out a purple flame. Think about what I mean, Yihua said unhurriedly, while playing with Qingya's finger. It was rather tender and smooth. Mister, this is... I don't care what reason you have. I will ask and you will answer. Furthermore, there are a lot of people who are smarter than you here. Yihua said coldly. If not for Qingya being soft-hearted, she would have already poked his forehead. In any case, it wasn't me who did it, it doesn't count. Jian Yuan was sweating profusely. Why am I so unlucky these 2 days, Sailor Moon and Calabash brother? I actually got bullied by a character from an anime. Can I still have fun? Why is there such a strong person in this Longan city? After I return this time, I definitely have to report to the sect. I will not stay in Longan city even if I am beaten to death. Mister, there is a dragon vein under the mountain that they bought. Dragon vein? Yihua went into a slight daze. And here I thought that it was something that made them fight over it. To make such a big fuss over a mere dragon vein. Under the dragon vein, there are a lot of treasures, pills, orbs, techniques, and so on. Jian Yuan had the heart to cry, and he took out everything. Yihua waved his hand, and Calabash brother instantly dissipated. The purple sword also returned back to its original form, and fell onto the ground. And those wealthy merchants' eyes were opened wide. There are orbs and techniques, No wonder our Yinfeng sect wants to butt in. Chapter 88. There was no longer any meaning in staying here any longer. Pulling Qingye, who was absent-minded, Yihua said, "Xiaojiu, call a car over." Lord Jiu immediately stood up. "I'll make the arrangements now. Boss, please wait for a while. The driver will be here soon." Yihua nodded his head. This Wei Chang and Lai Gu's temperament is very weird. As long as someone is disrespectful to me, I will kill them without saying a word. Leaving this Xiaojiu with me can also be used to deal with some trivial matters. If Jiu Yi were to know of Yihua's thoughts, he would definitely be in a dilemma. On one hand, he wants to hug Yihua's thigh, and on the other hand, he also wants to hug Yihua's thigh to save face. Very quickly, Jiu Ye's Rolls-Royce Phantom arrived, and the driver respectfully opened the door of the car. Yihua pulled Qingye, who was absent-minded, and walked out of the side hall. The things that they are talking about are too childish. I am not interested in knowing about it, and I don't want to know about it either. Right now, I am only curious about the thoughts of Qingye, this fool. After knowing my strength, you are already stupefied. Let's see if you are still going to be naughty in the future. Qingye was indeed stupefied. Never in a million years would I have thought that the man that I randomly found would be a cultivator. I really don't know if this is good luck or bad luck. Could it be that all cultivators have such a bad temper? Asking his woman to peel crayfish and buy pancakes at every turn? On the way back, the two of them didn't converse with each other at all. Yihua was a little impatient. Could it be that this stupid woman was scared silly? Stop at the side, Yihua said coldly. The driver didn't dare to say anything else. He had to pull over even if he had to pay a fine. After pulling Qingye, who was still in a daze, Qingye walked to the riverside and gazed into the distance. There were quite a number of couples strolling along the riverside, and there were also many elderly people dancing in the square. The main reason was that the riverside was cool. From time to time, a cool breeze would blow, making one feel relaxed and happy. Yihua took out a stick of cigarette and lit it up, then leaned against the guardrail. Meanwhile, Qingye was standing at the side, and the breeze was blowing her beautiful hair, not knowing what she was thinking about. After finishing smoking a cigarette, Yihua was a bit irritated. Could it be that I have really become stupid? Speak, Yihua said gravely. Qingye took a deep breath, then asked, Yihua, do you know grafting? What do you mean? Yihua slightly wrinkled his brows. If I learn it, I can absorb your inner force. Yihua, what's the point of learning that kind of inferior cultivation technique? Yihua said in disdain. This woman's hair is too long, but her experience is too short. Do you know 3 flower at one's prominence? Yihua's frown deepened. No, then do you know the Nining Sutra? Yihua had the thought of smacking Qingye's butt. Not yet. Where's the Dark North Divine Art? You can't even do that. Buddha's palm headquarters, right? Sigh, Yihua, could it be that you have cultivated the Sunflower Manual? Yihua couldn't bear it anymore, and hugged Qingye into his embrace. Don't you know whether or not I have practiced the Sunflower Treasured Book? Qingye let out a breath. Just now, I just wanted to tease Yihua a bit, and upon discovering that he is still the same as before, I can finally be at ease. Just that, with the additional identity of a cultivator, I don't know if I will be able to gain face for myself if I were to tell others about it. For example, other people say, my husband is worth tens of billions. Where does your husband come from? Qingye placed her hands on her waist and shouted out proudly, your husband is nothing. My husband is someone from the cultivation world. If Yihua knew what Qingye was thinking right now, he would definitely give Qingye a lecture. To actually compare yourself with that kind of low-rank job. Are you really someone from the cultivation world? Qingye asked. Yihua didn't know how to reply. What the hell is the cultivation world? If I were to deny right now, would she go back on her words? After all, what I am betting on is whether I am a cultivator or not. However, admitting that I am a cultivator, I feel really low. However, for the sake of teaching Qingye a lesson, I might as well be a little low. Seems like for this woman, my bottom line is getting lower and lower. Yes, Yihua said indifferently. Then, are you very powerful? The kind that can blow up a car with a punch, and can even fly into the sky. Yes. Then can I fly on a sword? Can I fly into space? But there is no oxygen, Yihua. Do you not want to breathe anymore? A few black lines appeared on Yihua's forehead. No wonder you were like that night. So you are a cultivator. You must have taken your medicine. Yihua was really angered and said coldly, you can come and give it a try tonight. TSK, I won't fall for it. Don't think that just because you are a cultivator, I have to hug onto your thigh and listen to your words. Qinya pushed Yihua away, stood in front of Yihua, raised her chin, and said confidently. Yihua said gravely, did you forget about your vow? What vow? I don't know what you are talking about. I knew that you would be like this. Yihua took out his phone and played Qinya's recording. If Yihua is really a cultivator, I, Qinya, promise that I will be obedient in the future. Yihua will be my sky, alright? After listening to her vow, Qinya immediately understood. I was tricked by Yihua again. I won't accept this, you lied to me. Qinya raised up her small fist again, but unfortunately, her wrist was grabbed onto by Yihua. Yihua knew that Qinya would go back on her words and said coldly, do you think that your small fist will be able to harm me? Qinya's expression immediately sunk as she said, I know that you are a cultivator now, and you are very powerful. I am just an ordinary woman, and I am completely not your opponent. If you want to hit me, then go ahead and hit me. In any case, there is no one in this world who would feel sorry for me. After hearing what Qinya said, Yihua went into a daze. Why do I feel that I am the one in the wrong? If I wanted to hit you, I would have long slapped you into the sky. Look, your expression is that of anger. Go ahead and hit me. In any case, I don't have the strength to fight back. Qinya said faintly. Her resentment soared to the sky, and the people who were passing by were able to sense that heavy resentment. Even if they were separated by a screen, they would still be able to smell it. Yihua resisted the urge to smack Qinya's but, do you really think that I don't dare to hit you? You are a cultivator. You are the biggest. Whatever you say goes. Qinya spread out her hands helplessly. Don't compare me with cultivators. Yihua shouted out lightly. Cultivators are nothing. Just a fart is enough to crush us to death. Sigh, my husband is using his identity to oppress me, sigh. Yihua suddenly felt that if he were to tell her a little bit of things, she would be able to soar into the sky. If I had known that this would happen, I would have kept it a secret. To actually say that I am using my identity to oppress me, you are clearly the one who lost the bet. Seeing that Yihua was not speaking, Qinya rubbed her ankle and said lightly, I can't walk anymore. Take a taxi by yourself. Yihua said petulantly, then lit up another stick of cigarette. Qinya snorted coldly, then made a flower-pinching finger gesture. I don't know who was the one who said that as long as my ankle hurts, you will have to carry me on your back. And you are even a cultivator. Your mouth sure is full of nonsense. Cough, cough, cough. This was the first time that Yihua choked on his own cigarette. Originally, I wanted to use the recording to educate Qinya, but in the end, I didn't expect that my identity would instead become a handle that Qinya could use against me. She is even a cultivator. If I were to tell her my real identity, things would get out of hand. Forget it, forget it. I will just slowly walk back. The identity of a cultivator is noble. How can I carry my wife on my back? If this matter were to be spread out, I would lose so much face. Qinya suddenly added a sentence. Chapter 89. Come up. After a while, Yihua suppressed the impulse in his heart and shouted out coldly. A trace of a smile appeared on the corner of Qinya's mouth. Then she turned her head and said, Really? You won't throw me into the river, right? Come up. I don't want to say it a second time. Yihua really wanted to turn back time. This woman is truly much smarter than what I imagined her to be. Qinya immediately arrived behind Yihua and patted on Yihua's back. Squat down a bit, as the almighty supreme overlord. Yihua felt tired and helpless as he slowly bowed his body. This is the first woman that dares to be so arrogant towards me. Qinya suddenly jumped up and wrapped her spotlessly white arms around Yihua's neck. Meanwhile, Yihua began to walk forward, and the scene was rather comical. Because Yihua didn't hold on to Qingya's legs. Right now, it was as if Yihua was carrying a corpse. Qingya, who was on Yihua's back, immediately shouted out, "Yihua, if you don't want to carry me, just say it. What are you trying to do this time?" This cannot be blamed on Yihua. After all, he had never turned his back on anyone before. "Don't you know how to hold my legs? Do you want to drag me home?" Yihua took a deep breath. "You are the first woman who dares to shout at me. What's wrong? Did I hurt the dignity of the cultivators? Don't mention cultivators to me." Right now, Yihua hated cultivators to the core. And he really wanted to get rid of all of the cultivators. It was precisely because of the cultivators that he was teased by this woman. Qingya pouted and did not provoke Yihua anymore. Because she discovered that Yihua was currently walking towards the riverside unknowingly. Qingya walked to the street, and Qingya became the object of envy of all women. Look at the others. They all know how to carry their girlfriends. Why don't you carry me? Then why don't you look at other people's girlfriends' bodies? As long as I carry you, you have to give me mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. You're so annoying. You want to take advantage of me again. The skinny man was already in despair. Was I talking about taking advantage of her? I'm talking about how fat you are. Oh my God, this is so hopeless. Leaning on that broad and sturdy back, Qingya felt extremely safe. Towards the envious gazes that other people were casting at her, she also happily accepted them. If you guys have the ability, then go and find a cultivator husband to carry as well. Yihua, Qingya called out softly. Yihua lightly nodded. In actuality, he was silently praying in his heart that Lai Gu and Wei Chang must not see this. Will you really hit me? Yihua stopped his footsteps and immediately slapped onto Qingya's perky butt. Do you think that I dare or not? Qingya was stupefied. This fellow actually dared to spank my, but in front of so many people, shameless, without waiting for Qingya to start scolding. Yihua took the initiative and said, I have a voice recording as evidence. You better be more obedient in the future. If not, I will spank your butt until it is swollen. Qingya pouted her small mouth. Humph, you are a cultivator, so of course you can only rely on your martial strength. Yihua remained silent. I swear, tonight, I am going to properly teach Qingya a lesson, and let her know the consequences of going back on her words. Not long after, Yihua arrived at Leisure Bar while carrying Qingya on his back. Under everyone's astonished gazes, Yihua walked upstairs. Wei Chang swore that he would definitely tell this scene to Lai Gu. Bang! The bedroom door was heavily closed by Yihua. Qing Yutong naturally heard what happened, and immediately ran over to the corner of the bedroom to eavesdrop. Brother-in-law and big sister sure are passionate every single day. Sure enough, in just a few seconds, big sister's panting sound could be heard from the bedroom. Qing Yutong's entire body was in a bad state. Brother-in-law is simply too ferocious. Big sister's panting is not panting anymore. She is almost shouting for help. The two of them are simply too hardcore. So perverted on the spacious bed. Yihua was currently teaching Qingya a lesson. Don't think too much. I am just placing Qingya on my thighs and spanking that sexy little butt of hers. The amount of force that I control is just right, just that. Isn't Qingya's scream too exaggerated? Ah, Yihua. I have seen through you. You only know how to hit your wife. Ah, let me tell you, Yihua. If I am stronger than you, I will use the same posture to spank you. Ah, you bastard, are you addicted to spank me? Ah, I am a pregnant woman. You can't spank me like this. Suddenly, Yihua recalled that Qingya was still pregnant with his blood, and immediately stopped. Come on. Why did you stop? Cultivator. Qingya shouted out coldly. Yihua let out a sigh, then helped Qingya up and said seriously, Qingya, can you not make me worry a bit less? Qingya looked at Yihua in disbelief, then directly pushed Yihua onto the bed and said, Who are you saying is not making you worry? How am I not making you worry? You explain clearly to me. Yihua was a bit absent-minded as he stared at the face that was right in front of him, and that charming red lips. Suddenly he recalled that night, that soft feeling, and expressed that he still wanted to try. Sure enough, under Qingya's adorable expression, Yihua kissed onto Qingya's lips. Yihua thought to himself in his heart, It is still that kind of soft and a bit sweet. Bang! At this moment, the door was suddenly pushed open by Qing Yutong. Yihua and Qingya, who were on the bed, immediately looked at Qing Yutong, who suddenly appeared with cold eyes. I heard that the two of you didn't make a sound, and I thought that the two of you had perished together. I will leave now. The two of you can continue, don't bother about me, bye-bye. Qing Yutong immediately left. The gaze of brother-in-law and big sister is so scary. Yihua pushed Qingya away and said calmly, I am going to take a bath. In actuality, his heart was not calm at all. Oh, Qingya, who was angry just a moment ago, also cowered and sat cross-legged on the bed in a daze. The atmosphere between the two of them immediately became awkward. Even after Yihua came out from the bath, Qingya did not say anything, and just rushed into the bath. After that, the two of them just lay on the bed, one on the other side, and neither of them spoke first. Is your phone turned off? Yihua asked lightly. He was unable to hold it in anymore. Qingya's tone was also not that cold. It is turned off. Just that. The two of them spoke one after another, and the atmosphere instantly quietened down. Roughly half an hour later, Qingya finally could not hold it in anymore and asked lightly, Are you asleep? If you want to come over, then come over. Yihua said faintly, This woman really wants to save face. Qingya snorted and lightly moved her body, then closed her eyes and hugged onto Yihua. As if by doing this, she would not find out. She was purely deceiving herself. Just that, Yihua's heartbeat is a bit fast today. Why is my heartbeat also following the rhythm? This fellow is indeed messing around with the rhythm. Yihua, you are a cultivator, and I am just an ordinary person, will you? Before Qingya finished speaking, Yihua interrupted and said solemnly, I won't. This was the tacit understanding that a husband and wife should have. There were some words that the other party did not need to finish speaking, and the other party would know. Yihua was just like this. Qingya's character was more or less clear. To put it simply, she was a hedgehog that did not have any sense of security. Before tonight, Qingya felt that the gap between her and Yihua was not that big. In any case, Yihua was also the boss of a bar, and both of them were bosses. However, now it had changed. Yihua was not only a boss, he was also a cultivator, and in the novels, he was able to ascend to immortality. The huge sense of loss made Qingya very melancholy, feeling that Yihua was suddenly very far away from her. Thus, she made Yihua look as angry as usual, and the facts proved that Yihua was still the same. However, she kept feeling that she would lose Yihua, perhaps on the day when the child was born. After all, the promise that she made on that day was still lingering in her mind. Chapter 90. Carrying along this uneasy feeling, Qingya gradually fell asleep. Hugging onto Yihua while sleeping is very comfortable. If I suddenly lose him one day, I will probably suffer from insomnia. Right now, Yihua was also thinking blindly, but he wasn't as emotional as Qingya. Instead, he was thinking about how to get back my face. Could it be that I have to show off my manliness in front of her? I wonder if killing millions of people would be enough. If that's the case, she would willingly submit to me. This doesn't seem right. Just what is wrong? This is so vexing. Just like that, the two gradually fell asleep with their own feelings, until the sound of knocking on the door rang out in the morning, waking Yihua and Qingya up. Brother-in-law big sister, Qing Yutong stood outside the door and shouted. From her tone, one could tell that she was asking for someone. Yihua patted onto Qingya's shoulder. Go and open the door. Qingya grabbed onto her hair. What are you doing so early in the morning? What's the matter? Qingya opened the door and asked angrily. Qing Yutong could be seen to have already changed her clothes. Wearing a big round hat and sunglasses, she should be considered to be fully armed. Big sister, didn't you tell me to go to Gaohai City today? It's so dangerous for me to go to the airport alone. Aren't you and brother-in-law going to send me off? Qing Yutong blinked her beautiful eyes, pulled onto Qingya's arm, and said coquettishly. Qingya wrinkled her brows. You are already an adult. Do you still need to send me off? Can't you just drive directly to the airport? Big sister, you don't even care about your little sister. My heart hurts. Yihua was no longer sleepy. He got off the bed and said, let's just go and send her off and eat breakfast on the way. The corner of Qing Yutong's mouth twitched. I feel like it's all thanks to breakfast. Since the man has already spoken, what else can Qingya say? She went to wash up. 15 minutes later, the two were ready. Qingya, on the other hand, was very happy right now, because there was no need for her to put on makeup. Her face was simply too stunning. Thinking back to the meat on that day, Qingya was very curious. Could it really be dragon meat? Yutong drive. Qingya threw the car key to her little sister. Qing Yutong knew that it would be like this. The two of them were masters, especially brother-in-law. That expression of his was just like an emperor coming out of the palace. Sitting on the Audi A8, Qing Yutong successfully obtained the identity of the driver, while Qing Yutong and Qingya sat at the back. Qing Yutong, who was driving the car, silently thought to herself, last night, they were clearly quarreling so much, and in the end, when I knocked open the door to take a look, I saw that they were actually lying on the bed and kissing. Yutong, for the next few days, properly cooperate with us, all right? Don't cause any trouble again. Qingya reminded. Qingya understood her younger sister's personality very well. Yutong was puzzled. Qing said, Yutong, I said, it doesn't matter if it's 1 or 2 days. You have to get it done. All right, in any case, you all just want to chase me away. When is my little nephew coming out? By then, we would have already run away from home. Yutong. Qingya Qing. Qingya was filled with melancholy. It was as if she had already seen her child running away from home along with her younger sister. Yaya said, I Qing. I by day I. Quiet down, what's there to quarrel about? Yihua said gravely, quarreling every day. This is giving me a headache. The two goddess-like women pouted and quietened down. Half an hour later, Qing Yutong finally arrived at the airport. Aren't you two coming down to send me off? Yihua and Qingya directly ignored her, and Qingya even went up to the car and stepped on the accelerator, leaving behind Qing Yutong, who had an adorable look on her face. Ah, these two are simply angering me to death. They don't have a bit of sympathy. Let me tell you. I am going to run away from home for half a month. Seems to be a bit long, 1 week then. Let's see if you two are anxious or not. Qing Yutong, who was throwing a small tantrum, walked into the airport and immediately attracted attention. Although she was fully armed, her temperament could not be changed. Don't look at how Qing Yutong was carefree in front of Yihua and Qingya. When she met outsiders, she would change. After all, Yihua and Qingya were her relatives. In the car, Yihua said faintly, let's go out for a walk today. Cultivator, do you want to go on a date with me? Qingya teased. The corner of her mouth unconsciously raised up. Can you remove the word cultivator from your mouth? Can't you speak properly? Yihua felt that telling her that he was a mistake. If he were to directly tell her that he was a supreme overlord, things would get out of hand. Qingya laughed tenderly. All right, I will remove it from your mouth, all right? After remaining silent for a while, Yihua asked, what do you think of my personality? Qingya was very puzzled. This fellow is not normal today. Do you still have a personality? Those who don't know would think that you are an emperor. Your face is cold every day. And you even have problems with the most basic communication. Yihua, are you sick? Autism, you are also a cultivator. You have to hide your identity. Qingya. Yihua shouted out gravely. This woman can't even leave the word cultivator out of her mouth right now. To even say that I am sick, her guts are really getting bigger and bigger. Look, after saying a few sentences of yours, you are jumping up again. As a human, you have to learn to be calm. Don't think that just because you are a cultivator that you are superior to others. You have to learn to integrate with others. Cultivator again. Cultivator again. Yihua really regretted admitting that he was a cultivator right now. After taking in a few deep breaths, Yihua calmly asked, is there any way to solve it? Do I really have to solve it? Qingya found it hard to believe. Yihua couldn't be having a fever today, right? I am thinking too much. Yihua just felt that learning human nature was not something that one could learn on the surface. One had to put it into practice. However, talking to these low-grade creatures, I feel very uncomfortable. I wonder how Wei Chang did it. Yihua lightly grunted, feeling that he had lost a lot of face. I will bring you to a place. I guarantee that you will be able to get rid of those bad habits of yours. Xingye felt that today was really wonderful. Yihua is finally obedient. Bad habits. Yihua said gravely, this is the dignity of a supreme overlord. But when it comes to her mouth, it became a bad habit. Could it be that it is a good habit? Xingye snorted. Half an hour later, Xingye brought Yihua to a place that was overcrowded with people, the pedestrian street of Long'an City. Last time, I even came here to eat skewers. Why did you bring me here? Yihua asked faintly. Don't think too much, come with me. Xingye held on to Yihua's big hand and walked into Audie's specialty store. Inside the specialty store, there were almost all female salespeople. And when they saw such a handsome guy, they all rushed over. When they saw the woman beside Yihua, they immediately stopped their footsteps. The woman was so beautiful that it made people feel ashamed of their inferiority. Xingye sized up the sportswear, then looked at the suit that Yihua was wearing. Don't dress so solemnly all day. When it is time to relax, relax. Yihua remained silent. What are you in a daze for? Go and buy it. Xingye pushed Yihua, letting Yihua take the initiative to ask. Chapter 91. Yihua's breathing became a bit hurried. Are these small fries even qualified to talk to me? However, I have to assimilate into the human race. Assimilate. If I am unable to control my emotions later on, Xingye will have to take the blame. Come over. Yihua shouted out gravely. The big sister was given a fright as she walked towards Yihua while trembling with fear, and her face was a bit pale. Xingye held onto her forehead. Can you be a bit more gentle? What are you being so fierce for, fight? Shut up. Yihua said petulantly. Xingye snorted coldly, then walked to the side and ignored Yihua. Yihua rubbed his temples. Sooner or later, I will explode from anger because of Xingye. Xingye, come over. Xingye, who was pretending to choose clothes, snorted, but she still walked over. I'm sorry, my husband is sick. He has a language barrier. Just a moment ago you even roared at me. See if I don't teach you a lesson. Don't think that you can bully me just because you are a cultivator. Oh, so it's like that. The big sister was relieved. She was scared to death. Right now, Yihua's mood was just like Jianyun's mood yesterday, constipated. Beauty, does this set of clothes come with a couple's outfit? Xingye asked curiously. The waiter smiled and said, Miss, of course. Xingye poked the angry Yihua. What are you doing? Bargaining. Xingye shook her head. This husband of mine is just like a child. He doesn't know anything. Yihua's brows wrinkled deeply. Have I ever seen a supreme overlord haggling over the price when buying something? This wasn't bargaining, this was lowering the price. If word of this got out, where would his face go? We need to interact more with each other. Xingye said in a low voice. Yihua took a deep breath, then asked, How much? The lady was still very shy. She looked at the price and said, 489 yuan. Hearing that humans like to bargain with the lowest price, Yihua had an answer in his heart and said gravely, Too expensive, 1 RMB. The big sister was instantly stupefied, and even Xingye was stupefied. This fellow isn't messing with me, right? However, looking at that incomparably serious face of his, he doesn't seem to be joking with me. Sir, although you are handsome, you can't bargain like this. The young lady wanted to cry. Even a handsome guy couldn't bully people like this. Xingye was hating iron for not becoming steel. How can it be returned like this? Let me do it, you learn more from me. Xingye let out a sigh. To think that I, the madam, would still have to do it. Seems like Yihua has cultivated himself to the point that he became stupid. Xingye picked up her clothes and touched it, then frowned and said faintly, 489 is too expensive. How about this, 488? What an auspicious number. This time, it was Yihua's turn to be a little stupefied. This is called bargaining? It seemed that this woman was even more ignorant than he was. She was still pretending to know. Even the waiter was laughing. The young lady felt that they were very strange. One was silly while the other was cute. They were a perfect match. Of course. Qingye raised her chin proudly and said towards Yihua. Did you see that? This is called bargaining. It is truly a miracle that your company didn't go bankrupt. Yihua shook his head helplessly. What do you know? You can't mix the two together, okay? Hurry up and bargain like me. I can't do it. As expected, Yihua refused. How can you be like this? Didn't you say you wanted to have a good conversation? Yihua said faintly. I have already had enough exchanges with you. Qingye went into a daze, then pulled onto Yihua's sleeves. Where did you learn those sweet words from? They are quite alluring. Yihua took a look. Communicating with you is already troublesome enough. I don't want to add more troubles. Qingye knew that it would be like this. This fellow just doesn't know how to say some sweet words. Quickly go and change your clothes. It is so dark all day. Can't you be a bit more sunny? Qingye shoved the clothes into Yihua's hands. If I didn't appear, you can just be a single dog for your entire life. Who would be able to endure your temper? Yihua did not refuse, and walked into the changing room with the clothes. Qingye also chose a set of clothes, and walked into the changing room to change. When the two walked out of the changing room, no matter if it was the staff of the store, or the people who came to buy clothes, all of them were shocked. Yihua, who had changed into the sportswear, indeed looked a lot more sunny, less calm, and more gentleness. Qingye was the same too. It was as if she had become the big sister next door. Simply too childish. This was the portrayal of Yihua's inner heart. Tsk, look how handsome he is. The only thing that Qingye felt fortunate about was that her husband was still pleasing to the eye, to the point that she wouldn't get tired of looking at him. It could be said to be a great fortune within misfortune. Yihua was very unnatural as he urged, quickly go. Go and pay the bill. I didn't bring any money with me. Why didn't you even bring any money? Yihua was speechless. She definitely did it on purpose. You are my husband. When we are outside, I definitely need you to count the money. Of course, you are a cultivator. You can completely force me to do things. Yihua simply didn't have the slightest bit of temper. The biggest mistake in this lifetime was yesterday night. I originally wanted to use my identity to shock Qingye, but in the end, it had the opposite effect. Seeing that Yihua obediently went to count the money, Qingye was still very happy. She went up and held on to the man who was throwing a small tantrum. Men, after all, have to be coaxed. If not, why would they be obedient? Although I am an ordinary person, and my husband is a cultivator. But so what? Yihua is still obedient. I will take care of you when we return home tonight. Yihua said gravely. If I don't beat you up for a day, you will start to climb up the beam and tear down the tiles. Qingye could be seen touching her abdomen. Baby, Daddy is going to hit Mommy. What do you think I should do? My God. Yihua is not only regretting yesterday night, he is also regretting that night. This woman is simply like a curse to me. The two returned to the pedestrian street. Qingye looked at Yihua, who was sullen, and felt that it was very funny. She asked lightly, Yihua, last night, you secretly kissed me. Here it comes again. I already have 3 of my weaknesses in her hands. I simply want to die. If you are not happy, you can kiss me back. Yihua said gravely. I, the Supreme Overlord, would also have such a day. I really didn't expect that. Qingye tiptoed and said sweetly. As long as you admit that you are a swindler, I can let you do whatever you want, just like that night, immediately. The anger within Yihua's body rose rapidly, causing Yihua to turn pale with fright. I am actually being controlled by this woman. How is this possible? The words that I, Yihua, have said before are of enormous weight. All right, let's see how long you can keep your words to yourself for. Qingye's breath was like an orchid. She had Yihua firmly in her grasp. Seeing that Yihua was angered to the point that he was speechless again, Qingye said sweetly, how about we go and take a risk? What do you mean? Let's just sit on a random car and go wherever we go, how about it? In actuality, Qingye had a small wish, and that was to go on a trip without any purpose. Boring. Let's go. Qingye, when did you learn Yutong's moves? Yihua wrinkled his brows. Qingye's expression immediately changed as she shouted out coldly, are you going or not? Actually, it is also good to learn from Yutong. Chapter 92. After getting on the bus, Xingye quickly fell asleep while leaning on Yihua's shoulder. It was only at this time that Yihua felt that Xingye was very obedient, and when she woke up, she became like a little demon. After half an hour of driving, the two got off the bus and changed into the minibus. Who knows where this minibus is heading to? Teacher, stop for a moment. Looking at the scenery outside, Xingye couldn't help but shout out. After getting off the car, Xingye stretched her body and said comfortably, "The air here is fresh." Yihua lit up a cigarette, expressing that he was very bored. A truck carrying pigs passed by, and the truck carried a strange smell. Xingye's comfortable face immediately turned black, and even Yihua's face was the same. "This is the good place that you chose," Yihua said petulantly. Xingye was a little embarrassed. "How would I know? Can't you treat me a bit more gently? Hold my hand, and close your eyes." "What? You want to steal a kiss from me again?" Xingye's heart was beating faster. "Who wants to kiss you? I am just changing places." Yihua let out a light sigh. "I really don't know what she is thinking about all day long. Tisk, let's see what kind of flower you can conjure up." Xingye snorted coldly and pulled onto Yihua's hand. 0.1 seconds later, Yihua said, "We're here." Xingye slightly opened her eyes. Just a moment ago, everything in front of her eyes had changed. What she could see was a green lake, and all around her were towering trees. This was the real utopia. "Yihua, have we transmigrated?" Yihua poked onto Xingye's forehead. "Just what is going on in that little head of yours?" Xingye stuck out her tongue, then ran to the lakeside and opened up her arms. Yihua followed behind her unhurriedly with a cigarette in his mouth. With a wave of his hand, 2 chairs and a small table immediately appeared. On the table was a dragon blood wine, as well as the meat of star-cleansing sparrow and golden delicate crane. "Don't just stand there. Come and sit down." When Xingye turned her head around to take a look, she was first startled by the things that suddenly appeared, and soon after she muttered, "Having a cultivator as a husband sure is good. He can even bring so many things with him." Another cultivator. Yihua really wants to throw Xingye into the lake to calm down. Lying on the chair, Xingye took a sip of the dragon blood wine and said, "We will be able to save a lot of money on transportation fees in the future." Yihua didn't want to talk anymore. "Yihua, are you able to transmigrate to another world?" Xingye asked curiously. "It's simple." Upon hearing that it was okay, Xingye became interested. "When are you going to bring him over to play with me? Let's talk about it after you give birth." "That's true." Speaking of children, Xingye rubbed onto her flat stomach and asked curiously, "Yihua, will our children be like Superman when they are born?" "Xingye, don't compare children with those inferior races," Yihua said in displeasure. Xingye muttered, "I'm just asking, why are you getting angry again?" After eating a small mouthful of the star-cleansing sparrow's meat, Xingye seemed to have thought of something, and her mood instantly became gloomy. "Yihua, how long can you two live?" Xingye asked gravely. Yihua finally knew what Xingye was thinking about. This woman is actually worried about this. Thus, I decided to tease her a little. "A very, very long time," Yihua said leisurely. "Then when I get old, will you still be so young?" Xingye's eyes turned red. "When I think about how old I am, and how Yihua is still the same as before, I even have the heart to die. This silly woman, she is eating the star-cleansing sparrow's meat, and she is still worried about her appearance." Yihua said faintly, "If nothing unexpected happens, it will be like this." This time, Xingye was really sad, and tears of helplessness fell out from her eyes. If only Yihua was an ordinary person. Yihua didn't expect that Xingye's reaction would be so big. He was startled for a moment, then said slowly, "Of course, I also have a way." "What way? Teach me." Hearing that there was a way, Xingye was like a person who was drowning, tightly grabbing onto that life-saving straw. For people like us, every part of our body is where the essence lies, so. Xingye went into a daze for a moment, then immediately jumped onto Yihua's body and punched onto his chest. "Yihua, I didn't expect you to be so shameless and perverted." Yihua lightly hooked onto Xingye's chin and said with a light smile, "Such a beautiful face. How can I bear to let you grow old?" You are teasing me again, Yihua, I hate you, what a silly woman. Yihua laughed out loud, then hugged onto Qingya's soft and delicate body. Hugging onto my body feels very comfortable. Ripples appeared on the surface of the clear lake, and a light breeze blew onto Qingya's soft and beautiful hair. Yihua caressed onto Qingya's beautiful hair. You, if only you didn't talk back to me. Qingya closed her eyes and said, You, if only you didn't act cool all the time. Pa Yihua couldn't help but smack onto Qingya's, but the one who acts cool all the time is you, right? Qingya opened her beautiful eyes and shouted out, You only know how to smack my butt. Your butt sure is bouncy, it feels good. Yihua, right now, other than acting cool, you have also become a hooligan. Yihua hugged onto Qingya tightly. What's wrong with me acting like a hooligan towards my own wife? Qingya felt that this couldn't go on, so she said to Yihua, I want to learn martial arts. Oh, why do you suddenly want to? Because I want to defeat you, and then bully you. Qingya turned around and rode onto Yihua's body. Her posture was too explosive. Yihua laughed lightly. Your way of thinking is perfect, but you won't be able to succeed. In this lifetime, I am definitely going to bully you. Humph, if you don't teach me, who would know? Perhaps, you know that my talent is extremely good, and you are afraid that I will surpass you. Qingya expressed that she was not convinced. Failure isn't scary. What is scary is that you still believe in this sentence. Qingya pouted. How do you know that I will fail? From the moment you said that you want to surpass me, you were destined to fail. Humph, you are just stingy, Yihua. Yihua sighed, then held onto Qingya's small hand, pointed towards the infinity ring and said, With this ring, you are already invincible. Qingya was confused. Other than looking good, this ring doesn't seem to have any other use. In the future, you will know, my woman. Why must you cultivate so bitterly? It is just like playing a game. We are all pay-to-win players, and we will forever be ahead of normal players. From level 1 to level 100, it is just a ding. Qingya touched onto Yihua's forehead. Your illness is acting up again. Yihua raised his hand, and was about to smack onto Qingya's forehead, scaring Qingya to the point that she jumped up and immediately ran away. See if I don't smack you today. Humph, you have to catch me first. Qingya still had the innocence of a child and made a funny face. If Qing Yutong were to see this, she would definitely rub her eyes. Is big sister infected by me? You run slower. Don't slip and fall. Yihua warned gravely. You are still so crazy even though you are pregnant. Chapter 93. Suddenly, a cry for help came from the forest. A man covered in blood rushed out. His panicked face made it seem as if there was a great flood, or fierce beast behind him. Save me, save me. The man ran towards Qingya, who was in a daze. Unexpectedly, his legs became crooked, and he tripped over himself. He slid for a full 3 meters, before finally stopping in front of Qingya's feet. His chin was almost bruised. Yihua snorted coldly. How can my woman be touched by someone like you? Yihua, quickly come and save them. Qingya finally came back to her senses and shouted out loudly. Yihua walked over unhurriedly and sized up the man. He discovered that the man did indeed have injuries, but the injuries were not as serious as what he had shown. Furthermore, the fainting that the man was showing right now was just an act. Qing Yuan felt that he was really unlucky today. He heard that this mountain range was extraordinary, so he specially came over to check it out. In the end, he bumped into a disciple of the Cloud sect. Luckily, he escaped quickly, but he also discovered an unknown secret. If this news were to be leaked out, the entire cultivation world would be shaken. The Cloud sect actually secretly dug up a dragon vein. However, he was injured. If he continued like this, he would definitely be caught. Coincidentally, he saw a couple camping by the lake. After observing them for a while, he felt that they were both good people. After all, they were so in love with each other. The beautiful woman was running around like a child, shouting for him to come and catch her. She was really cute and kind. The man doted on the woman very much, so he was probably a kind-hearted person. When he saw someone like him in trouble, he would definitely help. Look at this, This beauty is anxiously shouting to save me. I am so happy. Hurry up and drive me away. What happened? Yihua walked over and asked lightly. I don't know, he just ran out from the forest, quickly save him. Xingye pulled onto Yihua's hand and shouted out anxiously. Yihua appeared very serious and said, Xingye, don't worry, it's nothing big. Qing Yuan, who was lying on the ground, cursed under his breath. What kind of look was that? He was covered in blood, yet he said that he was fine. Only a fool would believe him. Then I can rest assured. Xingye patted on her chest and let out a sigh of relief. Qing Yuan froze. How could you believe such words? Don't believe a man's mouth, believe your own eyes. Xingye naturally believed in Yihua. After all, Yihua was a cultivator. Then, why isn't he waking up? Xingye walked over to Qing Yuan's side and asked curiously. He might have fainted from the fall. Just get some water to wake him up. That's right, why didn't I think of that? Xingye slapped onto her forehead. I am truly becoming more and more stupid. Qing Yuan felt that he should wake up. There were wounds on his body, and he couldn't touch water. Just as Qing Yuan was thinking, a comfortable feeling spread across his face, and his body couldn't help but tremble. Yihua, it's moving. It moved. But why hasn't she woken up yet? Not enough water. Oh, Qing Yuan was shocked. He couldn't do this, he was about to wake up. Cough, cough, cough. Qing Yuan coughed violently. Perhaps he wanted to make it look more realistic, so he used a little more force. Who knew that he would cough out blood? He couldn't stop coughing. Xingye was frightened by the bloody scene in front of her. Yihua, is he going to die? He's fine. He's just coughing out blood. He'll be fine soon. Qing Yuan's heart crumbled. Who the F***ck would cough up blood like this? How could these two people not know this common sense? 1 minute later. Yihua, why hasn't he stopped? Seems like he has a lot of blood. Xingye, lay him down. Yihua said faintly. Without waiting for Xingye to act, Qing Yuan had already laid down himself. Could it be that Yihua is going to give me artificial respiration? Such a beautiful woman, I'm so happy. What do we do next? Xingye asked curiously. Yihua pointed at Qing Yuan's chest. This person's blood is all accumulated in his chest. If we don't take care of it in time, he might suffocate to death. Ah, so serious? Xingye was shocked. And Xingye, use your foot and step on his chest. Use a bit of strength, and he will be able to vomit out all of the extravasated blood. Yihua said very earnestly, and Xingye had never seen Yihua being so earnest before. Xingye wrinkled her brows. Will it really work? Xingye, look at how much pain he is in, hurry up. Qing Yuan couldn't care so much anymore. These two are simply inhumane. I am already coughing out blood, and they still want to step on my chest. Do they even have a bit of medical common sense? This beauty actually believed in my words. Cough. No. Cough, cough, cough. Qing Yuan wanted to leave. He didn't want to be stepped on by Xingye. Xingye took a deep breath. Mister, don't be anxious. My husband will cure you. Cure your sister. How is he going to cure me? He is going to take my life. You are going to be his accomplice. Bear with it a bit. Xingye closed her eyes and raised her foot. Cough, 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 cough. Qing Yuan went crazy. Even if you want to step on my chest, you should at least open your eyes. Who would step on my chest with their eyes closed? Sure enough, Xingye did as Yihua said and heavily stepped on Qing Yuan's chest. As expected, the coughing stopped, and Xingye let out a breath. Yihua's method is really useful. Yihua couldn't help but shiver. The place where Xingye's foot landed was too dangerous. Not to mention coughing. Even if it was a heavy injury, one would still faint. Opening her beautiful eyes, Xingye looked at the place where her foot landed and took in a breath of cold air. Then immediately looked towards Yihua. Yihua, I didn't do it on purpose. I just wanted to save him. Yihua shook his head. Quickly go and get some water to splash him to wake him up. Xingye, who was embarrassed, immediately took some water and splashed it on him again. When he wakes up, I will definitely apologize to him. I really didn't do it on purpose. Qing Yuan really fainted. Originally, I was still fine. I just wanted them to save me and drive away from here. In the end, I am really not far away from death. After Qingya's unremitting efforts, Qing Yuan suddenly woke up and took a deep breath. Coincidentally, Qingya splashed water on him. I'm finished, I choked. Cough, cough, cough. Cough, cough, cough. I'm sorry. I didn't do it on purpose. Qingya was about to cry from anxiousness. Why did I vomit blood again? Qing Yuan opened his eyes, as if he was saying, don't torture me anymore. Let me go, we can pretend that we never saw each other. Just that, in Qingya's eyes, this kind of expression completely became a signal for help. Don't worry this time, I guarantee that I will step on the right place. Yihua slowly turned around. This is too cruel. Cough, 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 whoa, whoa. Qing Yuan was in despair. He wanted to struggle to get up and leave, but he was held down by Qingya. You can't leave now, you will die. F***K. If I don't leave now, I will die later on, you murderer. Qingya immediately raised her leg, and this time, she did not close her eyes. Aiming at the position, she kicked down. Puffed. A stream of blood sprayed out from Qing Yuan's mouth, and his entire body went limp, and his expression was no longer that painful. Qingya, you saved his life. Yihua said with his hands behind his back. Qingya let out a breath. What should we do next? Chapter 94. At this moment, two men in green robes ran out of the forest and saw Qing Yuan lying on the ground. Qing Yuan, on the other hand, seemed to have seen a life-saving straw, and with strength that came from who knows where, Qing Yuan crawled forward with all his might. Save me, quickly bring me away. The two disciples of the Cloud sect were dumbfounded. Just a moment ago, this fellow was running with his life on the line. How did he become so withered in just a few minutes? It was as if he had masturbated dozens of tubes. Qingya said apologetically, just now, I was saving him, and accidentally stepped on the wrong spot. This was the first time that Cloud sect's disciples heard that one has to step on someone to save someone, and they were a bit stupefied. But no matter what, they had found them. One of the men cupped his hands and said, thank you both. Farewell. Qingya also cupped her hands. About that, take care. Qing Yuan shed tears of remorse. He no longer believed in TikTok, who said that a good-looking person would have a beautiful heart. If God gave him another chance, he would definitely not ask them for help, even if he had to die. Yihua, I really didn't do it on purpose. Qingya apologized. Yihua took out a tissue and wiped off the sweat on Qingya's forehead. All right, didn't you save her? But Don't worry, this is a medical accident, it wasn't done on purpose. After hearing Yihua's explanation, Qingya felt relieved. That's right, this is only a medical accident. In actuality, this kind of treatment was indeed effective, and it wasn't because of Yihua's ill will. Yihua just wanted to punish this man. To actually dare to lie to me. It is already good enough that I didn't kill this man. Cloud sect's disciples were currently carrying Qing Yuan back to the sect, and one of the disciples cried out in surprise. Senior brother, he is bleeding. Isn't bleeding normal? But the location of the bleeding is not normal. Qing Yuan no longer felt anything. When he lowered his head to take a look, he immediately fainted. That woman is so terrifying. At the lakeside, Qingya seemed to have walked out from the shadows, and was eating the star-cleansing sparrow meat that other people yearned for even in their dreams. Yehua, is this really dragon meat? It will be fine if you just eat it. It is good for your skin. Yihua lit up a cigarette, and looked at the sky which was gradually becoming dark. Yihua, why do you treat me well sometimes? Qingya asked curiously. Yihua turned his head around and took a look at Qingya, as if he was saying, you idiot. How did you even think of such a question? If I don't treat you well, who should I treat well? No matter what, I am still the child's mother. Suddenly, Qingya felt that other than being beautiful and rich, she didn't have anything else. Sigh. This is so depressing. Looking at Yihua's high and mighty appearance, Qingya was in a bad mood, and decided to just ignore Yihua, and rest on the chair. What Yihua was currently thinking about was another matter. Tomorrow is the last day of the 3 days deadline. If Yihua doesn't return the money, then according to the previous rules, Yihua will have to pay back his life. To even dare to owe me money and not return it, Yihua's guts are not ordinary. No, today was different from the past. Exterminating an entire sect was too vicious. Change it. This matter will be handed over to Wei Chong or Lai Gu to handle tomorrow. I still have to teach Qingye a lesson. Look at her sleeping posture, my God, she is drooling again. Yihua, I want to spank your butt. In the dream, Qingye shouted loudly. Yihua shook his head, then carried Qingye and disappeared from the spot in an instant. When he reappeared, he had already arrived at the bedroom. After placing Qingye onto the bed, Yihua covered her with a blanket. Coming to the office, Yihua said gravely, Wei Chong, Lai Gu, come over. In an instant, Wei Chong and Lai Gu put down the things that they were doing and appeared in front of Yihua, then respectfully called out, Your Honor. Looking at Lai Gu, Yihua asked, Has your body adapted to it? Lai Gu said happily, It is all thanks to Your Honor that subordinate was able to create a body for subordinate. Subordinate was able to experience the joy of being a human. Actually, I still prefer you to transform into a dog. Yihua lit up a cigarette and said. Lai Gu expressed that he was very embarrassed, while the corner of Wei Chang's mouth arced up. Wei Chang, subordinate is here. What is the meaning between you and that waiter? Yihua asked. Wei Chang didn't dare to be careless and said gravely, Your Honor, subordinate is currently experiencing the feelings of humans. Feelings? This caused Yihua to be a little puzzled. What did you gain? Yihua asked. Wei Chang bowed his body and said, After spending these few days together, subordinate discovered that the feelings of humans are very strange. Yihua became interested and asked, How strange? When Xiao Tang is not around, subordinate will feel a bit uneasy, but when subordinate is together with Xiao Tang, subordinate will be able to calm down, that's about it. Wei Chang was also very vexed. He thought that he was poisoned. Yihua wrinkled his brows. Why is this symptom a bit similar to mine? Lai Gu, tell me about your feelings. Yihua asked. Lai Gu paused for a moment, and after thinking for a while he finally said, they are very awesome. Yihua. Wei Chang, if I were to ask you to go and kill that waiter right now, what would you do? Yihua's aura suddenly changed, and sharp killing intent emerged out from his body. A trace of hesitation appeared in Wei Chang's gaze, but very quickly, he changed his mind and knelt down on one knee. Subordinate will solemnly obey Your Honor's command. Yihua waved his hand. All right, don't make it so serious. Wei Chang, it is fine for you to get a girlfriend and experience human nature, but your real identity has to be hidden. If your little girlfriend finds out, you should know how to deal with it. Subordinate understands. Wei Chang lowered his head and replied, Lai Gu, you are the same. Subordinate obeys your command. Yihua lit up another cigarette and asked, Do you smoke? Wei Chang said, Subordinate doesn't smoke. Lai Gu, smoking is bad for the lungs. Wei Chang looked towards Lai Gu confusedly. You still have lungs? Is there any news about the other 5 sins? Yihua took a puff of the cigarette and exhaled out the smoke. Lai Gu changed his frivolous expression and said solemnly, Not at the moment. Your Honor, it has already been 5 years. The other 5 sins have not been found yet. I am afraid that something unexpected has happened. Wei Chang's tone was filled with killing intent. Towards traitors, there was no need to give any face, even if the traitor was a former comrade. Yihua let out a breath. Each of you 7 sins have your own unique points. If they were to join hands, the 2 of you would not be their match, but you are still able to fight them one-on-one. Wei Chang and Lai Gu remained silent. The other 5 sins were powerful. Not only were they powerful, their personalities were also twisted. How could Yihua and his 2 subordinates not have twisted personalities as well? It was just that after learning for 5 years, their personalities became slightly better. However, who knows what the other 5 sins are doing? Perhaps they are still maintaining their original character. Yihua extinguished the cigarette butt, and a trace of red light flashed past his pitch-black pupils. My 7 subordinates are just like my 7 children. If the other 5 sins were to really betray me, should I kill them or not? Furthermore, the strength of the other 5 sins is not to be underestimated. Let's put this problem aside first. We will deal with it in the future. Let's deal with that Xiao family that owes money and doesn't return it first. Yihua sat on the boss's chair and said calmly. Chapter 95. Lai Gu let out a sigh of relief. This kind of small matter is what Wei Chang likes to do the most. It is still more comfortable for me to lie on the bed. Lai Gu, how do you think we should deal with this matter? Yihua asked. The latter paused and swallowed his saliva. His honor is here to test me again. I cannot be careless. Your honor, just a mere human dares to not pay back the money he owes. Of course, he has to pay back the money with his life. Kill them all. Lai Gu was still the same as before, killing all the people he meets. Wei Chang, how do you think we should deal with this matter? Wei Chang pursed his dry lips. According to the usual routine, I will definitely kill all the people I meet. I can give up the money, but I cannot lose my face. However, his honor will definitely not follow the usual routine, just like that Long Outyan. Your honor, those who owe money and don't pay back are the most evil. I suggest that we kill the person closest to them. Yihua was somewhat attracted by Wei Chang's suggestion. This is a bit interesting. Tell me about it. Subordinate thinks that what humans fear the most is losing their loved ones. In the past, when we were fighting all over the world, we also saw it, but we didn't understand it. However, after 5 years of understanding, other than money, what humans care about is their family. Lai Gu took a look at Wei Chang. Where did this gluttonous freak find this fallacious reasoning from? Lai Gu look at Wei Chang. When can you be as sensible as Wei Chang? Yihua was gratified. I finally made Wei Chang's IQ online. Subordinate is incompetent. I will definitely properly learn about human nature in the future. Lai Gu thought in his heart. Learning about human nature on the bed. Yihua continued to ask. Wei Chang, who do you think Xiao Yi cares about the most? Here comes another problem. Wei Chang thought to himself, if it's me, other than his honor, it would be Xiao Tang. That's right. It's a woman. Subordinate thinks that the person Xiao Yi cares about the most is definitely his woman. Yihua felt that what Wei Chang said was reasonable. Nothing in life is more important than losing one's true love. Yihua went into a daze. What am I thinking about? True love? Wei Chang, you handle this matter as you see fit. Take the money, kill the person too. I will obey your honor's command. Let's do it tomorrow night at 12 o'clock. If he returns the money, then forget it. Yihua added. Wei Chang and Lai Gu went into a daze, then knelt on the ground and shouted, Congratulations, your honor. What joy. These two fellows had learned the human's flattery skills the most. Lai Gu sighed with emotion. His honor is clearly able to use his martial power, yet he just had to use his brain. As a subordinate, I am truly unable to catch up to him. What Lai Gu said is right. If it was in the past, his honor would have long since ordered us to kill him. But today, his honor actually said to spare his life. From this, it can be seen that his honor's control over human nature has already reached the pinnacle. Subordinate is blushing with shame. Wei Chang was so excited that he even sprayed out his saliva. And that expression on his face didn't seem to be bootlicking. Lai Gu, who was at the side, was stupefied. This gluttonous monster's performance is pretty good. You all. Yihua laughed helplessly. Compared to the past, the current atmosphere was much warmer. Dong dong dong. Yihua, are you inside? Qingya's voice rang out. You guys go ahead. Wei Chang and Lai Gu bowed and left, then disappeared from the office. Just at this moment, Qingya pushed open the door and walked in. When did we come back? Not too long ago. Yihua opened the window and let the smoke disperse a bit. Although it was just a small action, Qingya's heart still felt warm. Yihua, let's go out to eat, watch a movie, and take a walk. All right. Yihua let out a breath. The human emotions that Wei Chang spoke of, are they really that mysterious? Could it be that I, the Supreme Overlord, already care about this woman? This is truly inconceivable. Emotions are the most mysterious thing in the human mind. Even a strong person like Yihua is about to fall into such a state. It is truly not easy. However, this kind of emotion was still continuously warming up. This was something that the two people didn't expect. Yihua admired Qingya's courage to be angry and speak out, and Qingya liked Yihua's concern. Although Qingya has a bad temper sometimes, overall, Qingya is still considered to be good. The morning sunlight was always so gentle. Without his sister-in-law at home, there seemed to be a bit less joy, but at the same time, it was also a lot quieter. Wake up, Inging monster. Inging, to be honest, Yihua rather liked Qingya, who was acting coquettishly, caressing onto Qingya's smooth long hair. Yihua thought to himself, these days are pretty good. It is a bit better than the lonely days I had in the past. Seeing that Qingya was lazing around on the bed and not getting up, Yihua could only take forceful measures and directly carried Qingya to the washroom. Qingya naturally didn't want to comply, and the sound of quarreling immediately rang out. Qingya, who lost the quarrel, pouted and went out to buy breakfast, while Yihua went to his sister-in-law's bedroom, turned on the computer, and prepared to play games. I still have to practice my skills. No matter what, I have to bring my wife and sister-in-law to eat chicken, and not listen to the two of them complain. And after Qingya came back, she saw that Yihua was secretly playing games, so of course, she had to join in. In the end, the two of them had to play as a pair, and both of their lunch and dinner were takeaway. Yihua had led my wife astray. Yihua, play one more round, I want to eat chicken. Qingya pulled onto Yihua's sleeve and begged pitifully. Yihua pointed towards the clock. Look at what time it is. It is already 11:30 a.m. Don't you want to sleep anymore? Please play one more round. You have been saying that you will play one more round since 10 a.m. You are already a person who is going to be a mother. Really, this is definitely the last round. After playing, let's go to sleep. Qingya opened her big watery eyes, and even learned from her little sister to act cute, simply refreshing Yihua's understanding of her. This was also under the situation where Qing Yutong was not present. If she was present, Qingya would definitely have the appearance of a big sister. This way, she would appear to have a deterrent force, and in the end, Qingya was slowly accepting Yihua. Yihua let out a breath. One more round. Thank you, hubby moi. Kiss my face full of saliva. TSK. This beauty here kissed you and you still dislike it. You can play by yourself. Don't, hubby. I know my mistake. Only a capable man can bring his wife to eat chicken. And Yihua actually forgot about the proper business. Luckily, Wei Chong still remembered. Wei Chong, who was currently on the first floor, looked at the clock. It is almost midnight. I still have to collect what I should collect. Walking to the toilet, he closed the door and called out, Death Mage. Within a villa in Long'an City, Death Mage was currently drinking beer and watching the match between Germany and South Korea. Isn't it obvious that Germany is going to win? Death Mage decided to gamble one more time, betting on Germany to win. Just when the match had just started, he received a summon from his master. This was the hardest time to make a decision in one's life. Death Mage chose his master. But where did his scythe go finally? Death Mage found his scythe at a corner of the kitchen. Dust had already gathered on it. I have to wipe it. I can't let my master find out that I am slacking off. According to my master's orders, I am currently guarding that Long Outian. Chapter 96. Master. Death Mage respectfully lied on the ground and shouted out, hoping that his master would quickly give the order. I still have to go back and watch the match. Wei Chong wrinkled his brows, however. He did not ask too much about it. There is a Xiao family in Zijin City, and the family head, Xiao Yi, owes his honor 50 billion. Go and get the money back. Other than that, kill his most important woman. Do as you see fit. A mere trash dares to owe his honor money, and even caused master to be so vexed. How can killing a single person be enough to appease his honor's anger? I would like to be so bold as to request to kill his entire family. The corner of Wei Chang's mouth twitched. Wasn't this line used by him in the past? It seemed like he really wasn't as bloody as he was in the past. How can you change his honor's orders as you wish? Wei Chang shouted out lightly. What an unruly fellow. This subordinate deserves to die. As soon as it's midnight, you can make your move. Death Mage did not dare to ask too much about it. Why did they have to wait until midnight before taking action? This is truly strange. The opponent's strength is not bad, Wei Chang warned before opening the door. Master, don't worry. Subordinate will definitely get back his honors 50 billion and a life. Go. Yes. When Wei Chang walked out of the toilet, he just happened to see Tang Wei walking over. Uncle Wei, Tang Wei called out sweetly as a blush appeared on her cheeks. Xiao Tang, when we close the door, Uncle Wei will treat you to supper, Wei Chang said with a smile. Yihua thought that Wei Chang would personally take action, but who knew that Wei Chang had a date at night, and thus called his subordinate over. In actuality, his subordinate was still going to watch the football match at night. If it wasn't for Wei Chang saying that the opponent wasn't weak, Death Mage would definitely have sent his subordinate over. The Zijin city's Xiao family was located in the northern suburbs. This was a manor that occupied an extremely large area. To be precise, it was not a manor but a mansion. Just like the residence of the prince in the past, it was all Chinese-style buildings, with small bridges and flowing water. The environment was elegant, and it was the enjoyment of an emperor. In the east courtyard of the Xiao family, Xiao Yi was lying on a big bed with two beautiful wives beside him. One of them was Nangong Sini, and the other was Yuqi. She was the most beautiful girl in the school, but she was taken away by Xiao Yi. But that was 10 years ago. Although it had been 10 years, Xiao Yi's wives were still the same as before, showing no signs of aging. This was all thanks to Xiao Yi himself. Big brother Xiao, you're finally willing to accompany me today. Yu Qi stretched out her index finger and drew circles on Xiao Yi's firm chest. Nangong Sini laughed softly. Brother Xiao, little sister Yu is hungry and thirsty. You have to feed her until she's full tonight. Sister Sini, why do you have to tease me every time? Nangong Sini lifted Yuqi's chin and said, Because I like you. I hate you, Xiao Yi chuckled. He was also watching the match, but his thoughts were restless. He felt that something big was going to happen tonight, and it had been a long time since he had such a feeling. Brother Xiao, what's wrong? Do you feel uncomfortable anywhere? Why don't I ask Sister Shu Nan to take a look at you? Xiao Yi shook his head. There's no need. Besides, I was the one who taught Shu Nan his medical skills. I know my body well. Brother Xiao, why don't you rest early? You still have to take Yin'er to sign up for the children's soccer team tomorrow. The little guy is very excited today. Sister Sini coaxed him for a long time before he fell asleep, Yu Qi said softly. She then rubbed her belly and smiled happily. Oh, is Yin'er that excited? Xiao Yi laughed. Although he had many wives, it was very difficult for them to get pregnant. Until now, he had only given birth to one son, Xiao Yin. Of course, Yu Qi was also pregnant. It was already 3 months, and it was a girl. She couldn't bear it for 3 months, and tonight, she had to do something. Nangong Sini said with a smile. Isn't that so? Recently, the little guy has been saying that he wants to enter the national team and play in the World Cup to win glory for our country. Not bad. He already knows how to win glory at such a young age. Xiao Yi was very happy and looked forward to the arrival of his daughter. After a pause, Xiao Yi said, Sini, I will start my seclusion tomorrow. I have a feeling that something big is going to happen. Okay, don't worry and go into seclusion. I will look after the company, Nangong Sini said. Sister Sini, I also want to go to the company to help you, Yu Qi said pitifully. You just stay at home and wait for the delivery. Otherwise, someone will say that I mistreat the pregnant woman again. Nangong Sini poked her husband's arm. Hubby, let's go to sleep. It is already 11:50 p.m. Yu Qi lightly bit onto her lips, expressing that she was feeling very uncomfortable. Xiao Yi laughed. Let's watch for another 10 minutes. If Germany doesn't score a goal, we will go to sleep and feed you properly. Annoying, Nangong Sini laughed helplessly. Today you guys are the home team. I am here to cheer for you guys. Sini, don't even think about running away. Give birth to another one for me, Xiao Yi said straightforwardly. Don't, the other sisters are going to be jealous of me to death. Haha. Xiao Yi's arrogant laughter immediately rang out in the room. This is the peak of life, hugging onto one's left and one's right. And it's still joyful and harmonious. TSK. At this moment, outside of Xiao Residence's wall, Death Mage was leaning on the wall while hugging onto his sickle of death. His 5 hand bones were holding onto his phone, and the phone was still lying horizontally. The commentator's passionate voice was currently ringing out from the phone. 100 meters away from Death Mage, there were a few scouts that were holding onto night vision goggles and looking at the situation. Quickly look at the wall, there is an idiot. Quickly let me take a look, damn it. Seriously, not only did he not sleep in the middle of the night, he actually came to Xiao Residence to cosplay. And he even dressed up as a Grim Reaper. Awesome. He seems to be watching the World Cup. Did you place a bet on the match between Germany and South Korea tonight? Of course. Germany is the defending champion. I even used the money that I used to buy a house to bet that Germany will win. Me too if Germany wins. I will become a young model at the club. If Germany loses, I will become a slave. Haha, you know me best, my brother. However, we have already waited for a few days, and we still haven't seen a single ghost. That's right, there are only damned mosquitoes. Death Mage naturally knew that there were a few groups of humans in the surroundings, but he was not interested in caring about them. Right now, what he was concerned about was the match. Germany team, quickly score a goal. There are still 8 minutes before I have to start working. If I were to lose tonight, all of them will be castrated. Mother****. This family is truly tired of living. To actually dare to even owe his honor money, causing me to not be able to watch the match in the middle of the night. It is a pity that his honor asked me to only kill one person. What kind of great luck did they have? Looking at the time on the phone, Germany team still did not score a goal. Death Mage let out a breath of relief. After I teach them a lesson, I will cheat, I swear. Next time, I will definitely not cheat. After keeping away his phone, Death Mage raised up his scythe and walked towards the front door step by step. Going through the back door? That is impossible. It is impossible in this lifetime. Who is it? Of course, Xiao family had their own security measures. When Xiao family saw a person that was wearing a black robe and holding onto a scythe that was even taller than a person, and that scythe's blade was shining with a silver light under the moonlight, Xiao family's appearance had already explained everything. Chapter 97. It was just that the Xiao clan's security did not expect that there would be someone who dared to come here alone. This aura was not bad, and they did not know where that prop came from. GGG. Death Mage naturally wouldn't be able to speak, and only Wei Chong was able to understand what Death Mage was saying. Imperial translation. They're here to collect their debt. Where did this lunatic come from? Get lost. Otherwise we'll beat you up. One of the security guards took out an electric baton and poked it in his palm. GGG. Imperial translation. If it wasn't for his honor's request to only kill one person, the two of you would have long turned into dust on the ground. Yo, I'm giving you face but you don't want it. What the hell are you laughing at? See if I don't beat you to death. 2 rays of black light shot out from Death Mage's hand, and the security guards who were still acting arrogantly just a moment ago were instantly unable to move. They were unable to even shout out, and only their eyes were filled with shock and fear. The jaws of the spy squatting outside almost dropped to the ground. Damn it! They weren't here to be funny, they were here to cause trouble. Hurry, hurry, hurry! Quick, report the situation here. Very quickly, the situation at this side fell into the ears of the various big clans. The sky above Zijin City was suddenly covered by a layer of dark clouds, and it was filled with oppression. Death Mage walked past the two of them, and with a push of his arms, the front door of the Xiao family was easily pushed open. When the security guards inside saw that the front door was pushed open by a stranger who was dressed like a Grim Reaper, without saying anything, they immediately took out their guns and opened fire. Bang, bang, bang. The gunshot was so ear-piercing in the quiet night. Xiao Yi had just turned off the lights, and Yu Qi's underwear was already down to her knees. Suddenly there was a gunshot. How many years has it been? When did so many gunshots come from the Xiao family? The two wives were also shocked. Nangong Sini immediately turned on the lights. Brother Xiao. Xiaoyi put on his pajamas and frowned. Don't come out, I'll go take a look. Be careful, the two girls warned. They were wondering who had come to the Xiao clan. How audacious of him. However, the gunshots outside became less and less. Soon it became quiet. The two women looked at each other and relaxed. It seemed that Xiao Yi had been taken care of. Let's go out and take a look, Nangong Sini said. Yes. Yu Qi put on her pajamas and followed beside Nangong Sini. When she went out, she saw 4 beautiful women walking over. It seems like they are all Xiao Yi's wives. His luck with women is really not shallow. The 6 wives slowly came to the front yard, and the strange scene made them suck in a breath of cold air. All the security guards seemed to be frozen, motionless, and their eyeballs could move, but all of them revealed a look of fear. In the middle stood a man in a black robe, holding an enormous scythe. Because he was covered by the black robe, his face could not be seen clearly. His husband was standing 10 meters away from him. There was a stone bridge between them, and the sound of flowing water was particularly dull. Xiao Yi's expression was heavy. This person's ability was probably on par with his. Where did such a person come from? Why didn't he know anything about it? Moreover, what was he doing here? What enmity did he have with him? May I ask why you have come to visit so late at night? Xiao Yi shouted in a deep voice. His aura continued to rise. Even if he lost, he didn't want to lose. He. Death Mage let out a strange sound again, and the 6 beauties couldn't help but feel a chill run down their spines. I'm afraid it isn't appropriate for you to tease me like this. Xiao Yi was a man with a temper. Furthermore, he was an immortal emperor in his previous life, and he was revered by thousands of people. Although he hadn't fully recovered his cultivation, he still had his dignity. Death Mage suddenly waved the scythe in his hand. Xiao Yi thought that Death Mage was going to attack him, and a green long sword condensed in his hand. This sword was called the Broken Emperor Sword, and it was personally forged by Xiao Yi. The body of the sword was green, and there were all kinds of runes on it. When activated by his cultivation, it would emit a dazzling light, and it was the Act-Tough King Xiao Yi's most proficient weapon. However, when he saw that Death Mage wasn't going to attack him, but was instead taking out his phone, his expression became even uglier, especially when he was so scared that he took out his weapon. Suddenly, the voice of the commentator of the World Cup rang out from Death Mage's phone. I was watching it too. Could it be that he was watching the match between Germany and South Korea? Why would such a strong person do such a weird thing? That's right. Death Mage was squatting in a corner watching the World Cup, and the face scan unlock was still on that screen. Death Mage took a glance at the screen. Damn it, it's still 0-0. I better get down to business first. Stretching out the hand bone, Death Mage was drawing on the phone's screen, not knowing what he was doing. Meanwhile, Xiao Yi was able to see that hand bone. This isn't a human. However, the 6 wives who were far away were not able to see anything clearly. When Death Mage took out the phone's screen, the words on the screen were very big, and they were even scrolling across the screen. There weren't many words, but it caused Xiao Yi to be incomparably shocked, and even the 6 wives were dumbfounded. 2 words could be seen scrolling across the phone's screen. Return the money. There were even 3 exclamation marks, indicating that Death Mage was very angry. Xiao Yi tightly held onto the Broken Emperor sword in his hand. I am here to trample on the debt. When have I ever owed someone money? What a joke. Not right. That night 3 days ago, that man. Could it be that that man told me to come here to trample on the debt? Calculating the time that Qing Yutong called me, today just happens to be the 3rd day. Just like that, it's already a match. 50 billion. What that prodigal earned was all cash. And where would I find 50 billion in cash? It is possible to gather the money, but if the capital chain is broken, the company will definitely be suppressed by others. This was also why I wanted to deny the 50 billion. If it was 5 billion, it would still be fine. Nangong Sini also thought so. But she didn't expect that the person who denied the money would come to trample on the debt. And this person even made her husband vigilant. Sisters, let's go in. Don't disturb Brother Xiao. Nangong Sini said tenderly. Towards her husband, she trusted him a lot. It could be said that her husband had never been defeated before. The women had also seen such a scene before. Although they were worried, they didn't want to distract their husband. All of them returned to the backyard and waited for their husband's triumphant return. Xiao Yi's gaze was deep, and at the same time, the desire that he had been immersed in for a long time was ignited. Being unrivaled is lonely. It has been a long time since I was this excited. Right now it is hard to find an opponent. It is either that the opponent has some misgivings, or the opponent doesn't dare to. In any case, there are all sorts of reasons. And this person in front of me wrong. He is not a human. No matter what he came here for today, this battle must definitely be fought, and it must be won. If not, Xiao family will become a laughingstock in the entire north. This is something that is absolutely not allowed to happen. I reckon that right now, there are already a lot of eyes staring at us. Xiao Yi took a deep breath. Let's fight at another place. Death Mage waved his left hand, indicating that he didn't mind. Such a disdainful action caused Xiao Yi to sneer. You don't even know who is standing in front of you. Do you think that I, the Emperor, will be afraid of you? Chapter 98. The two of them instantly disappeared from the Xiao mansion. When they appeared again, they were already in the mountains several kilometers away. This place was desolate and uninhabited, and it was extremely suitable for a fierce battle. Just like what Xiao Yi had expected, all of the leaders of the powerful families in Zijin City knew about what had happened to the Xiao family. At first, he thought that it was just a joke, but he didn't expect that the other party was actually serious. At the other side of the northern suburb of Zijin City, there was a manor that was very modernized. And under the surface of this modernized manor, various kinds of mechanisms were concealed, and all of them were personally designed by Tang Wushuang. That's right. This was Tang Wushuang's home. At this moment, Tang Wushuang had also received the news from his subordinate, and he seemed to be very surprised. There's really someone who dares to provoke Xiao Clan. Was that man inflated? Or ignorance? Bam! Bang! I won. Tang Wushuang let out a heavy sigh. He had married over 10 wives, and only after he married them did he realize that all of them were gambling experts. Even his gold desert eagle was used as a gambling cushion. Standing up, Tang Wushuang placed his hands behind his back and let out a long sigh. Why are all the people with the surname Tang so miserable? Could it be that I am the reincarnation of Tang Bohu? Wushuang, Quan Anrong walked over with a smile. Tang Wushuang was gratified. Finally, there was someone who was obedient. Anrong you. Wushuang, I'm out of money. Give me a few million first. Tang Wushuang's entire body froze. Wushuang, I'm just joking. Tang Wushuang couldn't help but rub his wife's nose. Little mischievous, I'm afraid a few million is not enough. How about 10 million? Tang Wushuang requested for a close-up shot of the scene where Tang Wushuang spurted out blood. Alright, I won't joke around anymore. Did something happen on Brother Zhao's side? Quan Anrong pinched her husband's face and smiled. What a fool. Tang Wushuang smiled helplessly. And there's news. If I didn't guess wrongly, they should be here to collect the debt. Wushuang, Brother Xiao is so powerful. He should be able to settle this easily. And Rong, do you mean that you don't want me to get involved in this matter? Tang Wushuang wrinkled his brows. He didn't understand the profound meaning behind Enrong's words. Quan Anrong held onto Tang Wushuang's arm and walked out of the chess room. Then they arrived at the garden outside. Firstly, Brother Zhao's strength is very powerful. And even if you were to go, you wouldn't be able to do anything. We won't do something like adding flowers to brocade. And if we are going to do something, we will have to do something like sending charcoal in snowy weather. Timely help. Tang Wushuang's brows became very deep. Brother Zhao's reputation in the circle is very big, even surpassing yours. Wushuang, although you don't say it, I can see that you still care about it. Quan Anrong looked at her husband's expression and continued. Tonight, if Brother Xiao is safe and sound, we will pretend that we didn't say anything. If anything happens to Brother Xiao, Wushuang, this is your chance. But Tang Wushuang fell into a multiple-choice question, and it was very hard for him to make a decision. Wushuang, if Brother Xiao really falls tonight, You really have to prepare for a rainy day. Zijin City will undergo another big reshuffle. All the big families, hidden families, sects, the world of cultivators, the world of special abilities, and those who live under the wings of the Xiao family will have to make new choices. But I don't want to betray Brother Xiao. After all, he saved my life. Quan Onrong sighed. How could she not know? But to help her man reach the top, she would have to sacrifice a lot. Wushuang, I'm not asking you to betray Brother Xiao. You just need to be a good person. In an instant, Tang Wushuang understood what his wife meant. If Brother Xiao were to be defeated tonight, then the entire Xiao family would be without a leader. And with the identity of Xiao Yi's brother, he would be able to support the Xiao family once again. Not only that, he would be able to obtain benefits from this, and furthermore, he wouldn't lose his reputation, and other people would even praise him for being loyal. Wushuang, don't think too much. Brother Xiao is very powerful. There are countless people who want to take him down, but none of them succeeded. It's very difficult for the thing we're talking about to happen. If it happens, it'll be your chance. Of course, you don't have to choose this path. After all, it's just a suggestion. Quan Onrong kissed her husband's cheek and walked into the house, but suddenly stopped, as if she had thought of something. Wushuang, you still have a master. Xiao Yi doesn't have this. Tang Wushuang's body trembled. Master? How could he not know that this was a rare opportunity to swallow up the Xiao family? Then the whole Tang family would be flipped upside down. At that time, the Bai family would be nothing, and there would still be those aristocratic families eyeing them covetously. But the prerequisite was that Xiao Yi had to die. The probability of that was even lower than winning the lottery. And in the western suburb of Zijin City, there was a castle. Looking at it from afar, it looked very much like the vampire castle that was shown in the movies. Furthermore, if one wanted to enter the castle, one had to pass through a drawbridge. This was the place where the Bai family lived. And the woman who lived here was Bai Cixin, who was known as the Beauty of the North. In the living room of the castle, 2 men and a woman were sitting on a sofa that was as red as blood. The woman was Bai Cixin. Just like her name, her skin was extremely white, and even the clothes she was wearing were white as well. On her head, there was a white scarf, which added a sense of mystery to her. On her delicate hands, she was wearing a pair of white gloves, and she was sitting on the main sofa, and the 2 men were sitting on both sides of her. There was no need to talk about the status of the family. Right now, she was holding onto a teacup, and with her bright red lips, she was tasting the newly grown Maojian tea. Debao, don't buy this kind of tea anymore in the future. You know that I'm used to Dahongpo tea. Bai Cixin lightly placed down the teacup. She didn't care about how much this tea was worth at all. In Bai Cixin's heart, there was only good and bad tea. Wang Debao laughed embarrassedly. Wife, recently, Dahongpo tea is in short supply. If you want to drink it, you will have to wait for a while. Look for the person who is hoarding the goods. Bai Cixin said faintly. Killing intent surfaced in her tone. Wang Debao liked his wife's aloof and aloof look, because at night, he would be aloof and aloof. Wife, you have the final say. Bai Qi, who was sitting at the side, was very melancholic. He didn't care whether it was Maojian tea or Dahongpo tea. In any case, it was bitter. Big sister, how are we going to deal with Long and City? Bai Cixin said lightly. They are just some insignificant small figures. During this period of time, don't go to the south. Understood, big sister. Bai Qi paused for a moment, then asked curiously. Big sister, we just gave away that 50 billion? Is that true? Bai Qi still didn't understand his own big sister. On the surface, his big sister looked gentle and pleasant, but in the dark, she was actually a female devil. This time, brother-in-law lost 50 billion, and when it was time for him to return the money, he would definitely ask big sister, and big sister actually agreed to it. In actuality, Wang Debao was also curious. He felt that his wife's intention was rather deep, but he didn't dare to ask about it. If he were to ask about it, it would make him seem like an idiot, as if he didn't even understand what was going on. It just so happened that his brother-in-law asked about it, and everything went so smoothly. Debao, what do you think? Bai Cixin suddenly asked her husband. Chapter 99. Wang Debao's fingers subconsciously started trembling, and both of his legs were trembling. Why did she suddenly ask me this question? She's not playing by the rules. How can us men understand the wife's farsightedness? The wife's thoughts are as fine as a needle and meticulous. How can a husband dare to guess the wife's intentions blindly? In any case, everything that the wife says is right. Even if she is wrong, she is still right. Wang Debao felt that he had never felt so refreshed before. His bootlicking was done in one go, and there was no pause in the middle. Bai Qi couldn't help but give a thumbs up. Brother-in-law's desire to live actually made his choice of words a lot sharper. Awesome. Bai Cixin lightly tapped onto her husband's forehead and said indifferently, "When did I say that I will really give them the 50 billion? The use of the 50 billion will be tonight. Whether it is worth it or not will also be decided tonight. If it is not worth it, then we will take it back. Zijin City will not have a Qing family anymore. If it is worth it, then it couldn't be any better." The two men were stupefied. My dear wife is wise. Big sister is formidable. The two bootlickers. Perhaps the world might change tomorrow. Xiao family and Tang family seem to be in an alliance, but who would be willing to lower their head to the other? This is truly becoming more and more interesting. Bai Cixin shook her head, then rubbed her thumb and index finger together. Let's wait for the result tomorrow morning. Bai Qi, you should sleep early. Hubby, let's go back to our room. Okay, Wang Debao said happily. There is nothing more pleasurable than being able to press down on my wife. Looking at big sister and brother-in-law leaving, Bai Qi couldn't understand. Why does big sister like Wang Debao? This is truly depressing. However, not only Tang family and Bai family were discussing. Right now, many big figures had woken up from their dreams and were waiting for the result so that they could prepare for their next move. The debt collection this time around was not only a matter of money, it was also related to the interests of a lot of people. Among them, there was more than 50 billion, and Yi Hua's carelessness caused ripples to appear on the surface of the calm lake. The ripples were gradually forming into ocean waves. The temperature in the mountains was a bit low, but the killing intent that was being emitted out from Xiao Yi's body caused the temperature to drop once again. The tense atmosphere continued to condense, and a wave of killing intent spread out in all directions. Although the broken emperor sword in Xiao Yi's hand was not unsheathed, there was a sharp and fierce sword qi that was pressing towards Death Mage. Although Xiao Yi was only wearing a nightgown, Xiao Yi was like a king. As long as he waved the broken emperor sword in his hand, heads would roll and blood would float around. However, this kind of aura was completely useless against Death Mage. However, Death Mage was a ranged fighter, while Xiao Yi was a melee fighter. It was clear that Death Mage was at a disadvantage. Adding on the fact that Xiao Yi was not an ordinary person, he had a lot of battle experience. It was very easy for him to find the opponent's weak point and deal a fatal blow. However, the Death Mage was not just for show. Although the Death Mage had developed a bad habit of betting on football matches, its battle prowess was not to be underestimated. Wei Chong had even said before that the number of experts that had died in the hands of the Death Mage were innumerable, because they had all committed the same mistake, and that was underestimating their enemies. But this time, Death Mage's opponent was an immortal emperor. Although he hadn't reached the peak, it was enough to make him suffer. Furthermore, this time, it wasn't that others were underestimating their enemy. It was Death Mage who had started to underestimate his enemy. Because Death Mage felt that there was no one powerful enough on this planet, even if it was the person in front of him. I don't care if you're here for your debt or your life. Today, you will become a dead soul under my sword. Xiao Yi was not an ordinary person, and he wouldn't wait for his opponent to make the first move. A bright light burst out from Xiao Yi's eyes, and in the blink of an eye, a sword light flew towards Death Mage. Like a ghost, the sword light flew straight towards Death Mage's forehead. When experts were fighting, they definitely wouldn't use their strength at the start. Instead, they would use probing attacks, just like what Xiao Yi was doing. Don't look down on Xiao Yi. If it was Tang Wushuang, he would have to deal with Xiao Yi properly. Although Death Mage looked down on Xiao Yi, He didn't dare to easily receive Xiao Yi's sword attack. What master said is indeed correct. This man's strength is indeed formidable. No matter if it is his strength or his speed, this man has already seen through the next sword attack. Xiao Yi's gaze became serious. As expected, this man is an expert. Xiao Yi gave up on stabbing towards Death Mage in front of him, and instead, turned around and slashed towards Death Mage. Emperor Broken Sword immediately blossomed with a dazzling light, forming a sword chi that slashed towards the air. The air in front of Xiao Yi immediately flared up, and the trees in front of Xiao Yi were all sliced into two. Death Mage, who was behind Xiao Yi, gradually disappeared, and reappeared not far away from Xiao Yi. His body had already been sliced into two by the sword chi. Actually, in that instant, Xiao Yi felt that there was something wrong with the Death Mage in front of him, so he decisively swung his sword at Death Mage. Looking at the Death Mage who was sliced into two, Xiao Yi once again felt the loneliness of being invincible. This Death Mage is already the most formidable opponent that I have met in these few years, and he actually almost tricked me. Luckily, I reacted fast enough, otherwise, I would have made a fool out of myself. This person is not that great, but tomorrow, it should be my turn to go and trample on the debt. This debt is much bigger than 50 billion. Qing family, you guys better prepare to receive my Xiao Yi's fury. Beep. Just when Xiao Yi started fantasizing about himself torturing the Qing family, a black lightning struck towards Xiao Yi. Xiao Yi didn't have enough time to dodge, so he used his sword to block the attack, and the runes on the hilt of the sword released a light shield. The black lightning instantly collided with the light shield. There was no bright light. The two of them disappeared at the same time, and it seemed like the light shield was cancelled out. Xiao Yi's expression was gloomy, and looking at the black figure who was not far away from him, he raised his arm and pointed his index finger at Xiao Yi. That disgusting sound came out from his mouth, as if he was laughing at Xiao Yi. However, Xiao Yi was indeed fooled. The one that Xiao Yi killed just now was only an illusion, and Xiao Yi's real body was nowhere to be found. Furthermore, a layer of the runes on the broken Emperor sword had also been used up. Immediately, Xiao Yi's nightgown fluttered even though there was no wind, and the aura that Xiao Yi was emitting was still continuously rising. Even the leaves on the ground were starting to float into the air. When Death Mage saw Xiao Yi who was in front of him, he became interested. Xiao Yi is the strongest human that I have seen in the past 5 years. Just that, the smell that Xiao Yi is emitting is very nauseating. Heaven punishment sword art, Brahma heaven's will. When had Xiao Yi ever been deceived like this before? Xiao Yi decided to take out his trump card and end the battle quickly. The broken Emperor sword seemed to have sensed its master's fury and soared into the sky. In this pitch-black night, the broken Emperor sword shone like a star. A terrifying power quickly gathered at the tip of the broken Emperor sword, and the sky immediately changed color, and a rumbling sound suddenly rang out, piercing through the entire world. Death Mage raised his head and looked at the sky, then fiercely stabbed the death scythe into the ground with his right hand. Boom! The rumbling sound caused Xiao Yi's expression to sink even further. My opponent's strength is actually this strong as well. That stab from the scythe just now caused the entire ground to shake. Death Mage stretched out 5 of his fingers, and black threads were coming out from all 5 of his fingers. GGG, Royal Translation. Cave of Darkness. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.